Hello, my loves. Welcome to this reading with information that you need to know now. What are your guides wanting to communicate to you? So, we have four piles here that you can choose from. But really, I like to do the first three piles as a personal pile that you can pick, and the fourth pile as a message for the collective. Of course, you can choose the fourth pile as a personal pile, but the message that I was receiving is that in this pick a card opportunity we have here, you can choose one for yourself personally and then listen to the pile that is for the collective because that will be relevant to you as well. But as you listen, you go through and you filter and you take with you what feels good. So, just to help you get a little more familiar with the piles, on the first pile, we have companion. And this says loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness as the light attributes. For the shadow is betrayal by misusing confidences, loss of personal identity. Yeah, so we have two women here with a bouquet of flowers. This looks beautiful. And then we have the stone ametrine. Ametrine, and I really wanted to use points for all of the readings because I felt like if this is a message that your guides want you to know, then I feel like the point, guiding in a certain direction is just so appropriate. And ametrine is a stone that brings together amethyst and citrine. And amethyst is a stone that's very good for opening the third eye. It's a great stone for clarity, for peace, for releasing addictions or addictive behavior. Citrine is a stone that also has to do with clarity. So the combination is amazing. And citrine is also a stone that is beneficial for really finding direction and having kind of a clear direction. So this is this is ametrine, an ametrine point. The second we have is child wounded. And look how this guardian just has both children in her arms. Kind of reminds me of Pachamama, like the Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, comforting her children. Child wounded, awakening compassion and the desire to serve other wounded children. Releasing dysfunctional relationships and the shadow attribute. Resist moving on through forgiveness. And the point we have here is citrine. And again, citrine is about clarity. And what I also think is very special about citrine is it's not that easy to get really clear and genuine citrine. This is another citrine I have. And you see how clear and how light it is, the light color. There's a lot of fake citrine out there, which is actually heated amethyst, and that tends to be a bit of a dark orange. So there's a kind of a message of being a rarity in here as well. For the third card, we have the trickster. Look at this magician. Transcending convention, stuffiness and predictable behavior and the light attributes, manipulating through duplicity in the shadow. And we have here the crystal quartz, the quartz point. And we know that clear quartz is an amplifier. So, if you pair it with other stones, it's going to amplify that energy. And it's also a crystal that also has to do with direction, getting the clarity you need for the path that you're meant to go, also amplifying your spiritual gifts. The fourth, for the collective reading, we have the Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. In the shadow, power for self-aggrandizement. Look how he has the bouquet of flowers behind his back. Speaks to me a bit of a surprise, goodness, the opportunity for goodness coming to you. Very nice. And this is also a point, and this is aqua angel quartz, which is a combination of two stones similar to ametrine. However, this is combined through science. You can find ametrine in, I believe, parts of like Brazil and things like that, but Aqua Aura quartz is powdered, very fine gold that's bonded to high quality clear quartz. And it's very good for the throat and the third eye. So it's spiritual connection, spiritual guidance, angelic guidance. So in these pink cards, we have another message, but we will reveal that when it comes to your reading. So why don't you just take a moment, take a look at the cards, get a feel for what pile you feel drawn to. You may feel drawn to more than one pile, and you may feel drawn to listening to the collective reading. Pile number one, let's get started. I'm excited for your reading. So again, we have here the card Companion. So this may be about friendship. This may be a reading that has to do with connection. Let's take a look at your message. What I like about the ametrine is it's not just about clarity. Ametrine is about decisiveness because we have two quartz stones, amethyst and citrine, that are combined here, which with their both gifts for clarity and for direction, it brings a kind of decisiveness to the energy. Archangel Jophiel is your special message. That's so interesting because I always associate Archangel Jophiel with the color yellow because she's an archangel of joy. And you know, a lot of these archangels don't necessarily gender identify in the way that we do. I've just personally always associated Archangel Jophiel with feminine energy. But what she definitely carries is the energy of joy, the energy of happiness. So this is going to be a great message. And let's remember, archangels they are a reflection of source energy. They each reflect a very specific or particular aspect of source energy. So depending on the communities you grew up in, some people struggle with, you know, angel energy because they may have grown up in situations where it might have been like difficult church situations. But remember, these are reflections of the essence of source, the essence of truth, which also lets us know that joy and enjoyment is a reflection of truth, is a reflection of source energy. So we're actually meant to enjoy and have fun in this particular lifetime. So let's pull out some tarot to find out, you know, what's this reading about and what's the message that you need to know. And, you know, we ask for clarity and guidance and protection and, you know, the joy of Archangel Jophiel. I'm feeling these. Okay. At the bottom, okay, deck goes upside down. We have the heart chakra, which is very fitting for companion, right? So, you know, I always consider the bottom of the deck to bring an essence with it that inspires the rest of the reading. And so this is going to be about your heart space. This reading sounds like it's about opportunities in the heart space. So let's see, what do we have? Intuition, it's the high priestess in the traditional tarot. Ooh, new beginnings, yes. Also, possibly new beginnings in how you relate to yourself, how you listen to your inner wisdom. Heartache and loss, okay. So, you know, your heart chakra may have been through some disappointments, triumphant success. This is the King of Swords in the traditional tarot. I also have a huge amethyst here with me, always when I do readings. So this is about clarity and decisiveness because we've got the King of Swords here. So there's an opportunity to decide in what direction do you want to go because we've got new beginnings here. Love begins. Perhaps you've made your decision already. Rest and rejuvenate. What I'm feeling here, especially with the 14, because in numerology, the 1 and 4, this is new beginnings with a new foundation. The 1 being new beginnings, 4 being foundation. So When you're seeing 1441, if these are numbers that are repeating, it's important for you to keep your thoughts positive, have a positive outlook, call Archangel Jophiel to bring more joy, more peace into your life, because what's happening is you're creating a new foundation right now. You're creating new opportunities with your energy. And so you, of course, want your energy to be in the space of what it is that you want to magnetize. So this is a super positive message. So some of you may be hoping for new opportunities in romance. This looks like a romance opportunity. It can also be in the space of soul family. Perhaps it's not necessarily something that has to do with partnership, but also the opportunity to connect with people who are like-minded, and also people who specifically help you bring out um, different aspects of who you are. And as I look at this card and I look at the light attributes, loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness, it's given me the impression that maybe you want to find people who also will give as much as you give. You know, the new moon in Libra is coming up soon at the time of this reading on October 2nd, which will, be an energy of helping us to remember to look after ourselves also in relationships. So perhaps you're wanting a relationship that's also very balanced, that's allowing you to look after the other while also, looking after yourself. Let's get some more clarification. What are we releasing and walking out of? Because if, love begins, what are we releasing and walking out of? Because this is the Ace of Cups in the traditional tarot with the love begins. And look at these two hands coming together, and water is emotion, is intuition. This is a new feeling. This is a new emotion. With the rainbow, we have promise. God keeps promises, with the rainbow. So this is a promise of a new beginning. What are we walking out of? Okay, freedom. So there may have been some restriction in the past, maybe feeling a bit left out, feeling, we're ending collectively like a karmic cycle of restraint and being held back. Okay, we're releasing guilt. We're letting go of guilt. It says here, I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. So some of you may be feeling guilty. You may be feeling guilty about how well your life is going. There may be situations where you can see that others aren't doing well. If you look at like the collective energy right now, there are countries that are suffering. And sometimes when we see that others are suffering, we can feel guilty. Perhaps in relationships, we've broken out of something that wasn't for our highest, greatest good. We had to let go of it. We're in a new space of freedom. And sometimes we have to heal guilt in order to really be able to enjoy our newfound freedom. Judgment. Okay, and just more. Adversity. We're letting go of adversity. I'm going to take these two because I feel like they have a message for us. At the bottom of the deck is fear. I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. So fear can often point us to what it is that we need to release or what we need to heal in order to really be in our power. And I feel like the energy you're leaving behind is an energy of not feeling good enough, of feeling like, you know, everyone has their opinion and you're quite unique. You're someone who is unique. And it's important for us to let go of the energy of judgment. But in order to really allow loving partnership in or soul family energy in, we also have to stop judging ourselves. We also have to release the inner conflict. We have adversity here with I accept that challenges are the best way to learn. And look at this point. It kind of reminds me of the Aqua Aura Quartz for the collective reading. Look at that. So we're letting go of adversity. And we're gleaning the gifts from the challenges and allowing it to help our emotional intelligence and our empathy and spiritual gifts to grow. So if there's any inner conflict here, it's important to release that and bring your energy into harmony. How can we do that? Trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So if you've had to, again, make a decision to leave and to begin something anew, the Fool card here, then trust that you've made the right decision. Trust your higher self. Trust your soul's voice. Failure. You are not a failure. Just because something didn't work out or you weren't able to save someone does not mean that something failed. We're not always here to accompany someone on their journey from beginning to end. Sometimes we have soul contracts that just allow us to plant different seeds that help people to grow. And sometimes we can plant seeds that feel like adversity. And those seeds are also meant to help people to grow and to see themselves in a new and more authentic light. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn, and we have guilt here. So if you feel like you've made a mistake, if you feel like something didn't go the way that you thought it would, that you had planned, that you had hoped, there might even been a losing control here, or, not being able to deal with something as well as you had hoped. It's time to forgive the self. It's time to forgive others. And when we talk about forgiveness, it's not about condoning anyone's actions. It's about putting down the bag. It's about saying, okay, I'm not going to carry this weight with me through my life because I'm ready for joy. Archangel Jophiel is here offering me joy, and I'm ready. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready to have my solar plexus replenished, because with the solar plexus, which this yellow is reminding me of, we can store emotions from others in our solar plexus when we react emotionally to their behavior. So when we are able to heal our wounds so that we're not so easily triggered, we are also helping to fortify and strengthen our solar plexus. So I feel like we need to pull a card about your feminine power. And remember, that's also not gender specific, for the men who are here. This is about tapping into your feminine power. We're going to use the Divine Feminine Oracle just to help you understand, who are you really, What power, what beauty, what gifts are you bringing to the table that are going to help you release any guilt, any unforgiveness? We have at the bottom Sappho, the poetess. I love every inch of my body, and I love the women in my life fiercely. Okay, so some of this for you can be with relationship, it can be with friendship. I think it's interesting that in this companion card, there are women here. So some of you may be embracing your love of women. Can also be a part of this reading. Perpetua, the saint of authenticity. I am my authentic self in all circumstances. So if you're finding out as a woman that you really love being in female energy, embrace who you are. I am my authentic self in all circumstances. Embrace who you are. Embrace love. Ariadne, mistress of the labyrinth. My soul knows the way, and the only way out is through. So this is really interesting. I'm going to come back and tell the story of these two women, because I think that could be super useful. I didn't realize we had another one here. Look at it. Anananda Maya Ma, the joy permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. Look at Archangel Jophiel coming in with joy, and then we have the joy permeated mother. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. There is a part of you, my dear, that is God, that is the universe. And even though you may have experienced moments of being pulled down, being put down, moments of adversity, know that there is a part of you that never changes, a part of you that cannot be touched by anything that is not for your highest and greatest good. Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. We're going to come back to this because these are really super powerful messages. Sarasvati, the goddess of self-knowledge. The essence of who I am flows effortlessly into everything I create. And I feel like she needs to be up here, because what I always teach in my Reiki seminars is You have to know yourself in order to be yourself. A lot of us are here talking about authenticity, and then we find ourselves in situations with groups or in relationships and in companionship where we're kind of losing the essence of who we are because we're not aware of our values. That's Venus energy. Venus says you need to know your values. You need to, self love is not just about pampering and having that matcha latte you like so much. It's also, because I love matcha latte, it is also about knowing your values. It's also about being aware of your principles so that when you enter a relationship, because Venus rules Libra as well as Taurus, so Taurus is going to be coming in with Venusian energy that has to do with knowing your values. And then you're going to take that Venusian energy of knowing your values into Libra, which is ruled by Venus, and bring that into your relationships. So even if, like, some of us might not realize that it's incredibly important for us to know our values and to be aware of that kind of Taurian energy in our birth charts, so that when we come into our connection with Libra, and we move into relationships, we're still able to be our authentic self because we are aware of our values. Libra is teaching us that as I engage with others, I become more clear about who I am. My relationships are teaching me more about myself and about my needs. So with Perpetua here, the saint of authenticity, I am my authentic self in all circumstances. I read Starseed astrology birth charts, and it's interesting because there are specific points in the chart, and we're aware of a lot of them that have to do with people who went through a lot in past lives that had to do with being persecuted for being themselves, basically. And Perpetua is one who went through that. She stood in the Christian faith and she refused to deny her faith. And so, even when she was, I believe it might have been fed to the lions, but there was definitely a situation that she was facing. Her family came to visit her in captivity and said, "Come on, just say what they want to hear so that you can get back to your child." And she refused. She stood by herself. She stood by her words. She stood by her beliefs. And that's why she's called the saint of authenticity. So there may have been situations in relationship, because we have companion here, where you felt like you may have had to give up different aspects of yourself, or you were challenged to do so and you stuck with it. Whether you stuck with it or not, there's a message here to embrace your authenticity. It's not really about the past. The past is just an incredible teacher in the end. But the way forward is self-knowledge. The way forward is being aware of your values, being aware of who you are, and giving yourself permission to lead. I was going to say to lead that, but to also be yourself. So with Ariadne here, my soul knows the way. It may be that you feel like you're in some kind of dungeon a bit where there's darkness, and you're like, okay, my authenticity is being tested. Can I be myself? Can I give myself permission to live the fullness of who I am? And with Ariadne here, there's a message that you will find the way out. Now, Ariadne is a part of Greek mythology with the Minotaur. And so, there was a Minotaur where children were being sacrificed as tribute to the Minotaur, which is like, I don't know if, half man, half bull, or it's a hybrid energy that definitely has like the head of a bull with horns. And children were being sacrificed. And Ariadne fell in love with, oh my goodness, now I'm being tested. Was his name Theseus? I don't know. Some guy who went into the labyrinth just to end all of this, to end the madness. And she helped him. I think his intention was to defeat the Minotaur, and she helped him find his way out of the labyrinth by laying a ball of yarn. And the yarn was to show him how to get through the maze, how to get out. So your guides, the message you've come here to hear is you're going to be shown the way out. But understand that the only way out is moving through this dark night of the soul, releasing the heartache and loss, and coming more into an understanding that you are free. You're free. The Minotaur was defeated. There's a way out. And with this way out, you're able to come more into love. I am my own guru. I know the self that never changes. So again, to me, this is being yourself, even in the midst of groups. Is not allowing yourself to feel like you're being influenced by the collective or peer pressure, you know. So when I first started this spiritual path, you know, it was just who I am. I'm just incredibly uh, esoteric. Call it esoteric if you will, but I was just always been very spiritual. You know, when I was a kid, I was always seeing. You know, I could see who was in the house. Who, you know, I could just sense things before they happened. I would tell my mother, you know, and at some point I kind of let go of that because I wasn't quite sure how to navigate that gift. And then as I came back into the gift, sometimes I found it difficult to stand by this gift because it just threw people off so much that I was able to feel them so acutely. And so you may also be, this might not just be a reading about soul family or about romance. This might also be stepping into your power as a spiritual teacher, as that high priestess. You are your own guru. So give yourself permission to go within and to really have your own guidance. Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. I am the bridge between heaven and earth. I am fully human and fully divine. And I think this is an incredible message because sometimes when we're very spiritual or we're very connected, and if you're watching this card reading, you must be exactly that. And sometimes we have such incredibly high standards for ourselves. We feel like we must be fully divine at all times. But the fact is, we made an agreement when we came here to experience being human. And a part of being human is giving ourselves permission to feel our feelings, to feel our emotions, so that we can release them and really channel them into soul growth. So if you're feeling like you're failed because there was, you know, because you know, felt certain emotions, no, this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the experience. The question is, are we able to release? Are we able to see it, feel it, and release it? We have Saraswati here, which tells me we're able to channel our experiences into wisdom and creativity. You know, she's the goddess of self knowledge, but to me, she's also the goddess of creativity. And look at her holding this beautiful, healthy lotus here. And often the chakras are depicted as lotus flowers. So, you know, when you go to bed at night, you may want to just visualize each of your 7 main chakras or even the 8 chakras, you know, with the soul chakra above the crown, for example, or the 9 chakras with the earth chakra, then the root, you know, up to the crown, and then the soul chakra above. And just imagine them being this healthy, bright lotus, you know, being replenished, being full, new beginnings, my love. And look at her walking on the earth, you know. I feel like there's a need to embrace that sometimes we go through different situations that help us connect more deeply with the truth of who we are, and also with kind of an energy of humility. And sometimes we go through really difficult situations. That's Virgo energy, the energy of humility. But one thing that Maya Angelou said is we have to understand the difference between modesty and humility. She said, I am not modest, but I am humble. So this is allowing yourself to be the fullness and the beauty and the brightness of who you are, and without feeling like you have to be falsely modest about it, you know? You can live that triumphant success. You can live that light without having to make yourself small to fit some other um, energy of expectation. Okay, so let's look at let's bring in Lord Ganesha and just see what can help you in this path of authenticity, self-knowledge, you know, embracing your inner guru, inner knowing. Here we are again. Trust your inner guidance. You know it, you feel it. Surrender. Okay, we gotta talk about that. I feel like surrender is more of one of the complexer spiritual concepts that we have to talk about. Energetic movement. So things are moving. Things are moving. You might not see it. It might feel stagnant. Have courage because things are moving. Look at that white lion. He's super fierce. Look at this white lion. He is super fierce. Okay, I feel like these two as well. Okay. At the bottom is the heart chakra again with wholeness. Oh my gosh, look after your heart, my beauty. Look after your heart. Who are you giving access to your heart? Who are you giving access to your heart? What energy are you giving access to your heart? It's too precious. It's too precious, okay? Be good to yourself. Trust yourself. We have the card of trust here, and we have inner knowing. We have authenticity. We have my soul knows the way. We have I am my own guru. We have I am the bridge between heaven and earth. Oh my goodness. My love. New beginnings are here. If you've been feeling like, I don't know if I can access my inner joy anymore. I am so done with the way things have been. Look at these new beginnings. I mean, if this is how you're feeling, I can completely just resonate. And look at this lotus again, this bright lotus. I've been there before, had moments where I felt like I was going through a 4-year, 5-year dark night of the soul. Just like, when am I coming up for light and air and flowers, Look at this flower here. Look at this seashell. And I love that seashells, if you put your ear to them, you can hear the ocean. It was explained to me once how that works. Unfortunately, I forgot it, but I just kind of like the magic of it, I like feeling like there's a part of the ocean still in the shell, even though, the creature that housed it has moved on, or, so there are new beginnings upon you. Perhaps you're letting go of an old shell, and that can feel threatening. That can feel uncomfortable, like a snake shedding its skin. That shedding is uncomfortable for the snake. But if the snake does not release that old skin, it cannot grow, you know? So understand, my love, new beginnings are here. New beginnings that will see you not just walking on water, but on the whole atmosphere. But your new beginnings are really going to need to have a strong foundation of self-knowledge, of your values, your principles. What do you believe in? If someone were to ask me, I could tell them my top 3 values immediately: freedom, truth, love, or freedom, truth, and wisdom. Those are my top 3 values. Okay, so inner knowing, trust yourself. Surrender is not about not doing anything. I know Ganesha is chilling hardcore in this card, but it is an energy of rest. But it's not just physical rest, it's also mental and emotional rest. So if you've been like, your mind, your heart, everything's just been going and going and going, like, how is this going to work out? Who do I need to take care of? What do I need to do? There's a call to take care of yourself. There's a call to take care of your heart. And when you're surrendering, you're in an energy of trust. I trust that as I move forward, as I follow my passions, as I follow this inner voice of knowing, everything I need will come to me. As I follow and live my soul purpose and life mission, I know that everything I need will come to me. And there's already energetic movement in this space. We all know that the 5 is a number of change. So there's already energetic movement in this space. And I feel like I'm seeing a bit of a feather here. So be light as a feather, but give yourself permission to be vibrant. You don't have to be white. You don't have to be black. You can just be this vibrant color, Look at the lace, the necklaces around Ganesha. Be colorful. Be your bright self. That joy permeated mother. So, and here we have courage. Ganesha is also known to clear energy and clear paths, clear obstacles. That's what this axe is. Here in his tusk is broken off, but if I'm not mistaken, he also uses his tusk to write. So some of you may be writers. Some of you may be, just communicators. So use your gifts. Look at his hands, all full, using his gifts. Get out there, be courageous, and use your gifts. Here we have the 5 again, and whenever you see a 0 behind a number, the 0 is acting like a clear quartz. It's basically amplifying the number that's in front of it. So this is change being amplified again. This is the amplification of the energetic movement. So be courageous. If you feel like things are changing, people are coming and going, you feel like you're coming and going, know that this is new beginnings. But as you move and as you get courageous, you're going to need to set priorities. Now, here we have the number 30 with the 0 amplifying the 3 in front of it. Now, the 3 is an energy of communication. Again, Ganesha is also a deity of communication. So, we've got the 3, but the 3 is also intuition. And when you have a life path number of 30, you've basically come here to use your intuition and communicate it through creativity. So I have a life path of 30 actually. So it's no surprise that I'm here reading cards, because what I'm doing is I'm using my intuition and then I'm using it to communicate to you through a creative means. I'm also, I do astrology, birth chart readings, as well as a Reiki teacher. So everything I do has to do with intuition and some form of communication, either to clients or to students. So this could be your path, a path of communication, where it be through teaching, through writing. I heard book while preparing for this reading. So you may be working on different ways of how you want to communicate your authentic self, but you may need a little bit of courage. And they're saying drop into your heart space to help you along the way. And just make sure you're bringing that energy of balance. You're balancing rest with action, because there is this story of Monet where, Monet is chilling in his garden. We all know his garden is beautiful. Most of his paintings were of his garden. And the neighbor looked over the fence, so to speak, and saw Monet resting. And he said, "Oh, Monet, you're resting." And Monet said, "No, I'm working." And then later, Monet was painting, and the neighbor came and said, "Oh, Monet, you're working." And Monet said, "No, I'm resting." And what's happening in this story is that while Monet is resting, that's when the inspiration is coming. That's when the divine guidance is coming. That's when the inner knowing can come through, because there's no resistance. It's just peace. Often, right when I'm waking up is when I get the message. And it's funny because this morning I woke up with a sentence in my head, and it was, our greatest gifts are in the spaces of what we deny. It was something like that. Our greatest gifts are in the spaces of what we deny. And they were my guides are trying to get me to move in a specific direction. And I've been particularly cautious in moving in that direction. And so that was their sentence. Like, in this thing that you're resisting is actually exactly what you're looking for. So I need to get up on my P's and Q's. And it sounds like there's an opportunity for you, but you may be a little hesitant to move in that direction. But they're saying be courageous. Make your priority. Set your goal, Saturn energy. Set your goal and just move forward step by step. Saturn says, Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, and Saturn rules Capricorn, and Capricorn is the goat. And if you've seen these goats climb these really steep walls, then it's not about the quantity of steps they take, it's about the quality of the steps they take. So we don't want to move into perfectionism that has us stagnant and not moving forward. But we also want to be okay with the fact that we're just moving forward step by step, because we want that step to be sure-footed. Okay, so let's see what gifts you're bringing. What are these gifts that you have the opportunity to tap into? I love how colorful all of these decks are, because I feel like there's a particular message in there for you. This joy, this colorful, like, be yourself. Stop hiding whatever it is that you feel you need to hide. Intuition, the owl. It's interesting that all of these cards are upside down. So you may be feeling a bit stagnant, a bit blocked, but allow that pleasure to come through. And I think it's interesting that we have pleasure, and then we have these two women. We have companion. So we may need to embrace our sexual, physical experiences on this earth plane as well. Use your intuition, your inner knowing. So you must have a strong, because we're also talking about gifts. This could be Tantra energy with the pleasure, but it's also Venusian energy, again, with enjoyment and understanding this life is meant to be enjoyed. And also with the owl here, intuition, inner knowing. You may be a card reader yourself. You may be wanting to launch a YouTube channel. There's so many videos out there that encouraging people to launch YouTube channels, particularly for the 40 plus. Seems to be a trend right now. You may be jumping on that, and being like, okay, inner knowing, intuition, I'm all about that. And look at the 58. I don't know if you can see it, because I'm not sure. They could have written it any smaller. But the 58 for me is change leading to abundance. So listening to your inner your intuition and inner self can lead to abundance. And the owl, is an energy of wisdom, being able to see in the darkness, and also having that like 360 visual. Okay, let's see just 2 more gifts. Oh, that one just wants to come out. This one, okay, let's just stick with those. Ibis, with acceptance. I associate the ibis, I think is actually the way it's said, with the god Thoth. And that's writing again for me. Ganesha is writing for me. So I wonder if you guys have placements in Gemini and Sagittarius, or if those houses are very prominent, or you might have a prominent Mercury or Jupiter placing in that regard. Because it's just communication energy, teacher energy, using your intuition. Oh my gosh, the lion showing up with courage and confidence again. And the white lion in particular as a spirit animal is really about vision. It's about having a vision for your life. And that's probably the message that's really wanting to come through with priorities is, what is the vision for your life? What's your vision? Have confidence, have courage. Okay, we've got awareness with the moth. I love moths. Oh my gosh. I had the honor of petting a moth once. It landed on my shoulder and I was like just in such an energy of love, and it let me pet it. Moth is like the ultimate symbol of transformation. With the butterfly, they're like the ultimate symbols of transformation. Camel, celebration. This transformation is going to lead to celebration. And this may also be something that you're able to teach people. You bring them into awareness and then help them connect to their inner joy as the joy permeated mother. Celebration. The camel for me is also long strides. I had a dream once that the moon came and the moon laid cards for me. And one of the cards was the camel. And on this card that she had laid for me, the camel was making great strides through the desert. And the camel can go long without water, can go very long without water. So you may be able to help people to make great strides. The fox with solitude, the number 32. 32 is a number of trust for me, creativity and partnership as well. And the fox is a spirit animal that I always see when there's a job change, when I'm moving from one job or one career to another. So, this reading may also be for people who are moving into new careers. You may be moving into a new team, for example, with the companion energy here. And the fox always says, I'm here, I'm guiding you, I'm helping you see below the surface. I'm helping you to, access your inner cleverness that's necessary for this change. And the solitude is going to help you to tap into your inner wisdom. Okay. So let's pull a last card. Just, as we end this reading, let's ask Mother Moon, who loves us unconditionally, and there's also an energy of cycles and change. What is it that we need to understand to truly experience the growth that we so desire? Look at the bigger picture. Here we have that Sagittarius energy I was talking about. And at the bottom, surrender to the divine. So look at the bigger picture. For me, with Sagittarius energy, there's a need for humor. There's a need for optimism. That's incredibly important with Sagittarius energy, especially those who have their moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius teaches us this too shall pass. And that's why the humor and optimism is so important for us. Sagittarius for me is an energy of moving on. People who have certain placements in Sagittarius have past lives as traveling philosophers, traveling bards, the people who move from place to place to glean wisdom, the seekers. So look at the bigger picture. What is your vision? What are your priorities? Get clear on that and then surrender it to the divine. You don't want to hold on to it too tightly like Buddha taught us, Desire is important. Desire is Aries, Mars energy. But once you're aware of your desires, you've got to release it. And that's what Buddha is talking about. And that's why passion and in German Leidenschaft, they're connected with passio, the root word is suffering. Because when you hold on too tightly to the outcome, you end up suffering. But if you can have the vision and hold the vision and then surrender it and just trust that as you move forward, step by step, everything you need is coming to you, that's when crystallization and manifestation can take place. Okay, my love. Often in this crystallization process, self-worth is important. So no, you are the universe. As the Oracle of Delphi says, know thyself and you will know the universe and the gods. And the reason that this is written in one of the rooms where the Oracle took place is because these women knew that inside of all of us is universal life force energy. We are all God. And even astrophysics today verifies we are this God energy or universal energy. The astrophysics, they say that we're made up of the same four atoms as the universe. That's what they say. Which for me just kind of confirms that we are universal energy. So when you know yourself, you know the universe and you know God. God. So self-worth is never up for debate. It's a given. Okay. So, my love, that is your reading. I hope it was a blessing to you. If you're interested in any services of working together, I will not reach out to you, but you can reach out to me. Okay. And I'd be happy to look at your birth chart from a starseed perspective and just help you and guide you on your path. Look out for the next reading as well. I'm sending so much love. Hello, pile number 2. Welcome. Let's get started with your reading. So we have here again, child wounded. I'm excited for this reading because this sounds to me like an opportunity for healing, but also that, this to me is a bit like Chiron energy, the wounded healer, the person that because of what they've been through are able to bring clarity to those around them. So let's look more deeply. Your card here. Crown chakra. Oh, interesting. Okay. So there's an opportunity for connection and guidance here. Okay, child wounded. So let's see what this is about. Child wounded. Yeah, I'm just getting a feeling of what you have been through is helping you to be wiser or tap into your natural inner wisdom and to bring that to the forefront. Okay. And I'm feeling a lot of calm in this reading. Like for some reason, I'm a little calmer and slower. I'm slowing down. So let's see. The universe. This is the world card. So this is the end. This is the end of a journey. Patience and planning. I'm hearing forgiveness. Discontent and boredom. Okay. This is 4 of Cups energy. Destiny. Yes. The Wheel of Fortune. Okay. I'm also going to take these and then we can just see. At the bottom of the deck, we have disruption. Okay, so there's some change. There's some change needed here. Perhaps you feel like it's stagnating or you're just over the last cycle. You're just over it. And some change needs to happen. Some old towers need to fall so that you can step into your true power. There's this disruption is breaking chains. That's what I'm feeling here. We're breaking chains. Okay, let's see. Power, yes. We're breaking chains and we're stepping into our strength and our power. I feel like we should actually go from bottom to top. Shadow, okay. This is the Moon card in traditional tarot. Okay, 5 of Cups. And the solar plexus. Okay. So there have been some losses and some wounds that have affected your self-confidence, have affected your ability to really take action. Perhaps even in just this, the energy of the transits at the moment, there's been a need to slow down, to bring calm. And so perhaps you felt tired. You felt just possibly even exhausted, and again, I'm feeling this energy of calm and just this kind of need to slow down. And as I think about this need to slow down, I'm feeling like part of it is also a need to pat the self on the back. Like I faced my shadow. I faced my shadow and I got the prize, but it wasn't easy. I'm feeling it in my sacral as well. That it wasn't easy with the loss and the pain. Look at him holding on to his heart. The red coming from it, but look, it's coming into purple and green. There's a healing energy there. And it's making me think of Archangel Uriel, because I know Archangel Uriel is the aspect of the God energy or source energy that helps to heal emotional loss. So you may want to call on Archangel Uriel for love and for support. I'm sorry, I hope that's not loud, my hair hitting the microphone. So there may be a need to call on Archangel Uriel to really heal this wound. So, there may be a karmic cycle that's ending that had you looking at different wounds that you experienced during childhood. And with this patience and planning, I feel like there's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity for something new. And I once asked my guides, what's the difference between patience and waiting? Because to me, it seemed like they have different energy. And my guides explained to me that when you're waiting, you're just sitting, looking at the door, just waiting and wanting that thing to come. And in the process, you're in an energy of lack because you're busy noticing what's not there. And because your focus is what actually grows, it continues not to come because your focus is focused on the fact that it's not there. When you're patient, you're out there, you're living your life, you're enjoying your gifts, you're living your soul purpose and life mission. And as you go, your life purpose and soul mission, what it is that you need begins to walk through the door. So you're patient in allowing it to crystallize and come to you, but you're not sitting and waiting for it and focused on the fact that it's not there. Instead, you're out, you're living. And here I'm seeing different seasons, look at the rain, the sunlight, the fall and the snow. So you may have experienced different seasons of life and seasons of change. And, understanding that can also bring excitement, it can also bring opportunities and excitement. So there's an opportunity here to create something new for yourself, to release the old and embrace the new. And with the World card here, it's like an end of a cycle and you coming into your own. It's like it's destiny for that wheel to turn and for you to really step into your own, to step into your power. Let's find out more about what you're releasing, what you're letting go of. Find out more about what you're releasing and letting go of. I love to shuffle, but I don't like to bend my cards, but I just feel like we should. I feel like that was just necessary. They're doing pile 1. So, okay. What is pile 2 releasing? At the bottom of the deck, we have envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. It's interesting because I teach a course called Turn Your Habits into Superpowers. And in this course, which is available also one-to-one, I'm just teaching people how to use astrological wisdom to transform certain habits into superpowers. And one of those habits is comparison and envy. And what I teach with this particular habit is that, when people say don't compare yourself to others, it's just not possible. Comparison is a very natural habit, as we learn as Jeffrey Wolf Green teaches in evolutionary astrology. It's quite a common habit. What I learned on my path and working with my clients is it's not the action of comparison that's actually problematic. It's the value judgments you bring to those comparisons. So just for example, I have amethyst and rose quartz here. I'm noticing one is pink, one is purple. That's already a comparison. I'm noticing one is smooth and one has spikes. That's already a difference, So we naturally notice that. So if your friends and family are saying don't compare yourself to others, it's not really something that is possible. Where we can really help each other is helping each other become aware of what are the value judgments you're placing on those comparisons. Are you saying amethyst is better than rose quartz, although they fulfill two completely different purposes? That's when envy occurs. That's when envy starts to happen, is that we allow certain value judgments to give us the feeling that something is better than the other. So that may be an important message in this space. So, imagination. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. And we're talking about what you're releasing. So, I'm wondering if your mind is, going back to those wounds, constantly going back to those wounds. Doubt. Okay. So, we're releasing self-doubt. I release the need to know all the answers. Self-doubt. I like that affirmation, because self-doubt really does often come from this feeling like I have to know before I do it. And in some spaces, self-doubt can be so strong that even if you know it's going to work out, the universe is like, this is it, this is your path. If you don't see immediate results, sometimes you stagnate, but it's the journey that's actually quite valuable. It's not just the achievement. Here we have courage. Now, it didn't come out in this deck, but the message of courage did come out twice in the first pile, if that pile had any type of pull for you. Humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. Perseverance. Okay. So if there was any energy of giving up, any energy of just not being able to continue on, we are releasing the doubt. We're releasing any energy of giving up. We are persevering. Okay. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. The question is, what is your mind doing right now? Is your mind taking you back to the wounds? Or is your mind helping you understand that you can take the gift in those challenges and help, channel it into, the wisdom that you live and share in your life now? Okay, so life may have been heavy. You're releasing heaviness, because these cards are about what you're releasing. So you're releasing heaviness. You're facing your fears. You're releasing fear. You're releasing doubt, coming more into an energy of courage, embracing more of the feather, lighter side of life. And you're allowing your imagination to actually feed what it is that you want to experience, and not feed past wounds, which continue to bring that energy back into the present. We're in an energy in the collective right now that has a lot to do with the energy of the clean slate. We're starting over. There's an opportunity to create something new. So you want to make sure your mind is actually focused on what you want, with that patience and planning. Okay, so let's get more information on the truth of who you are. Like, what kind of power are you bringing into this lifetime? Because that's what we need to be focused on, right? Oh, my head just hit the... So what do you need to be focused on? I feel like this one, but I want to shuffle a little more. Okay. At the bottom, we have Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundance. Wealth is an inside job. Look at those coins falling from her hand. And here in this particular combination, we have the lotus, which often is a symbol for the chakras. Look at that inner wealth. And that inner wealth is what's going to breed this material wealth. So you need to know yourself, and you need to love yourself, because that connection is absolutely important. And I'm hearing the word impossible. So I'm a little concerned that some of you feel like what I want is just too difficult, or it's not coming, or no matter what I do, it's releasing that energy of defeat and giving yourself permission to come more into an energy of self-worth. And then understanding that you deserve this. And one time I woke up with the sentence in my mind, as you deserve, so you shall receive. And what I understood my guides to be communicating, or my higher self, through this message was, if whatever you feel like you deserve is likely what you'll get, because the universe is constantly affirming you. The universe is a complete energy of affirmation. So if you feel like you don't deserve for things to really work out. If you're in a space of low self-worth, then it's going to be difficult for that, abundance to come through. And a lot of us are doing a lot of healing in this space. So as you deserve, so you shall receive. And it's not saying that if you're not receiving, you don't deserve. What it's saying is make sure that you're aware of the fact that you deserve, that you're in that energy of self-worth being inherent, so that you can embrace that. Look at that, the presence of the divine feminine. At the center of everything, there is light. I am that light. Yes, you are that light. You deserve abundance. You deserve for money to flow to you easily, continuously, effortlessly, joyously. You deserve that. So let's see what power you're bringing into this lifetime. Mary Magdalene, she came out in the last pile, so you may feel an attraction to pile 1. Hestia, the goddess of sanctuary. No matter where I am home. It's very nice. We'll come back to each one. Oh, Yemoja, the Nigerian goddess. And Zhuao Zhuanjing, the mystic of peace. I'm always so proud of myself that I can say that. And I have no clue whether or not I'm saying it correctly, but I did not stutter. I feel like that's a win. Okay, so Mary Magdalene, the apostle to the apostles. And when I think of Mary Magdalene, sometimes I think about the fact that she's not really included in the Bible. So I'm wondering if there's some energy of silencing here. If you felt as a child that you were silenced, you weren't allowed to really speak up, or people didn't necessarily understand you. Maybe you also had to take a lot of blame. This could be scapegoat energy and the energy of the family, So with Mary Magdalene, I feel like there's always this important message of understanding, bringing the human experience into the divine experience. So you're allowed to enjoy life, but also, people who are on the spiritual path, they can have such high standards for themselves, but understand this human experience of making mistakes is just a part of the flow of life. I remember there was one time where I was really afraid to move and take action. And my angels were like, get out there, make mistakes. Like, what are you doing? This is what this is all about. And my head hit this thing again. So maybe sometimes you feel like your head is hitting a wall or something like that. But, we're out there to, we've got to get out there and swim in this ocean, this collective of the collective unconscious, and just, do our best to be ourselves. And it's so interesting because the ocean is here through Yamoja, the goddess of all that flows. I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. And sometimes we say in astrology that the ocean is the energy of Pisces, because, you just can't grasp it. It's like that Neptune energy. You just can't necessarily grasp. But the ocean is also the collective unconscious. This is where our ideas are. And so with the collective unconscious, it basically says, whatever I feel must resonate. Oh, I'm touching the microphone. Oh, whatever I feel must resonate with others. It's interesting that I touch the microphone as I touch my heart, because you may have a message and be like, don't nobody want to hear what I have to say. Like, who's going to listen? Who's going to listen, guys? And it's like, you're a drop in this ocean, and there are other drops who are flowing with you. And so your story will resonate with them as well. But if you're not out there shining your light, they can't find you. You got to turn on the light, my love. Turn on the light. Look at her. She's just burning. She's burning bright here. You've got to turn on the light. No matter where I am home. The most sacred sanctuary is found within me. I love this quote because to me, that's Cancer energy. So you may have strong placements in Cancer or the 4th house. You may have strong moon placements, because that is what Cancer is teaching us. The most sacred sanctuary is found within me. A lot of people associate the 4th house with home, but it's not just your physical home, it's your inner home as well. And if you have your moon in Cancer, for example, you've come to teach your parents that they must find their sacred sanctuary within themselves, that no one else can give them that feeling of security. Insecurity often comes when there's a lack of security from within, when we're waiting for validation from external sources. So my love, it's time for you to validate yourself. And look how Hestia, the goddess of sanctuary, ended up right on top of self-doubt, or excuse me, right on top of doubt. Okay, let that sink in. It ended up right on top of doubt, which means there's a need to find security from within. You know, if you've got Pluto in the fourth house, Saturn in the fourth house, this is going to be an absolute important message for you. If you've got Saturn in Cancer, you know, you've really got to find your security within yourself. The reason I didn't say you have to have Pluto in Cancer is because Pluto is a very slow moving planet. So people who have Pluto in Cancer are probably like 90 years old at the moment. So I don't know how many 90-year-olds are watching this video, but if you are 90 years old, you may have Pluto in Cancer, or you pretty much for sure have Pluto in Cancer. And so you've got to find your emotional security within. Or maybe some of you have grandparents who are that age, and their whole generation with Pluto in Cancer was learning to find sacred sanctuary within themselves. And so they may have felt like the rug was being pulled from under their feet. But what's happening is your soul was constantly wanting to bring you back to inner strength, confidence, and security within yourself. Don't count on your partner to give it to you. Don't count on your children to give it to you. It's got to come from within. And those of us, I include myself within this, because if you knew how many planets I have in the fourth house, you know, those of us who have had childhoods and experiences that have been difficult for us, we've actually, our soul intended some of those experiences. I won't say all. Please do not think that I'm saying that what you experienced was intentional, because I have no ability and space to judge that. I'm just saying that I know for myself with my birth chart, I've gleaned a lot of wisdom from those experiences. And part of that wisdom was finding that sacred sanctuary within myself. And since I've gained this sacred sanctuary within myself, I've opened up to an incredible level of self-worth, incredible level of self-love. And, you know, there were moments, I had really difficult moments in my evolution, where I remember one time I slept in a library because it was open for 24 hours and I didn't have anywhere else to go, you know? In those moments of loneliness, it was incredibly crucial for me to have that sanctuary within. And as I accepted that inner sanctuary, that's when creativity really began to flow. That's when I began to reconnect with my spiritual gifts of, you know, that I had when I was a child. And one of them was being able to feel the energy of others, being able to see energy, sending Reiki, you know. And I do these things now professionally. So I feel like as you embrace your inner sanctuary and you release doubt, you're going to come into a really strong flow of your spiritual gifts. And I feel like one of the energies that genuinely help us manifest and embrace and crystallize all that is for our highest, greatest good, and really helps us move into the energy of destiny, is peace. Peace is incredibly powerful. I remember taking a bath once, a salt bath, and cleansing, and there was a message that came through in Latin, and I had to look it up. And it basically meant, if peace is your middle. It was like, if peace is your middle. And later I understood that to mean that as you incorporate peace as your center, you will begin to manifest, crystallize, live what it is that you know is for your soul's highest and greatest good. Like Lakshmi at the bottom of the deck, you know, you'll be able to live this. Okay. So you may feel called to read the A Course in Miracles, for example, which to me is just so full of wisdom. It's so full of wisdom that I sometimes have to read it in pieces. I feel like that book is sending Reiki itself just with the words, you know. But I remember that a part of that was also a teaching that had to do with finding your inner peace and how powerful that is, how that awakens miracles. So understand that you're fully human and divine. It's not about being perfect here. I associate perfection and the guilt associated with not being perfect with ocean energy, with Pisces energy. So you didn't come here to be perfect. You came here to be yourself and not to put a value judgment on that. Okay? So let's find out more about how you can live these gifts. Let's ask Lord Ganesha. How can pile number 2 release self-doubt and step more into their power? How can pile number 2 release self-doubt and step into the beauty and creativity of who they are? openness. You got to be open for it. Okay. Got to be ready. 18 to me, that's the moon card in Tarot, facing your shadows, dark night of the soul. So you may be doing that work already. Look, here is nighttime here. You may already be doing or have done some dark night of the soul work and brought in some healing energy, some nourishment. I feel like when we're on the healing path and we're healing wounds, it's so important to take care of ourselves. And some people are like, oh, this journey is so tough. And I'm always like, yeah, but what foundation have you set for yourself to make this journey easier? Are you aware of what feels good to you? Are you aware of how you replenish quickly? Look, crown chakra again. The 27 enlightenment in this deck is the crown chakra. So there's divine guidance wanting to come through. And as you strengthen your crown chakra, you can start to bring in that intuition and those gifts and that creativity. It'll help you with your perseverance. Look at that beautiful purple, childlike expression. So there's some inner child work and opportunities here. Your inner child is just bursting with inspiration for you, in a sense. You didn't do anything wrong. Release any kind of guilt, any kind of self-doubt. You are perfect. Be at peace. Nurture yourself. Sustenance. I feel like this is just incredible nurturing energy. And how do you feed yourself? How do you feed yourself? Is it nourishing to your body, your heart, and your mind? Are you allowed to enjoy? Embrace. Look at this. This is completely an energy of nurturing, and it may be necessary for you to embrace your inner child. Bring in that love to your inner child. And what I feel like is you may need to just rest and relax, and in a moment of this rest, just be like, we did it. Embrace your inner child and be like, that wasn't easy, but we did it. We rocked that. Look at us. We rocked that. We did an amazing job. You need to be there for yourself. In order to have a really true sacred sanctuary that's on fire like Hestia's, you've got to have a connection to your inner child. Your inner child is like the truest part of your soul, because usually we come in already with, like, for example, I'm a Gemini moon, right? When I came, I was talking all the time. I was super creative. I was super expressive. Not everybody wanted to hear what I had to say as a child. Not everybody was up on my game. But that child was writing poetry. That child was teaching her teddy bears and making handouts. Like, she was a storyteller. She loved listening to stories. She was reading. Like, words have always been such an incredible part of who I am. And when I saw that I had 3 placements in Gemini, one of them being the moon, and it's actually a stellium, I thought, that just explains so much, even though I'm a Taurus sun. When I saw all these placements in Gemini, I understood myself so much better. And I feel like there's a message here, like your inner child is wanting to come through with those gifts that are inherently yours. And so along my path, I started to separate from some of these gifts. I stopped writing poetry, different things, just kind of life kind of got in the way. The self-doubt got in the way. And there came a time when I just started doing like soul retrieval work where I was just bringing in my inner child and embracing my inner child. And my guides took me on journeys through dreams where I encountered my inner child. And in one of the dreams, my inner child had the message for me that I had become timid, So I feel like there's a need to embrace your innocence. And innocence is not the same thing as not being guilty. Innocence is like purification and freedom from anything that's weighing you down, any kind of thoughts that have you feeling like less than. It's bringing you into an energy of peace. So crown chakra energy can be associated with the divine father, and earth energy like the divine mother. So what I'm seeing is you laying in bed and envisioning the divine masculine and divine feminine just wrapping you in their arms, like just this being in an absolute embrace and just holding your inner child and saying, you did that so well. You could have given up, but you didn't. You persevered. You persevered through the loss. And now we want to heal that solar plexus. We want you to be determined. We want you to be self-confident. We want you to be full of life. We want you to be bright. We want you to embrace your destiny and know the wheel is turning in your favor. Okay? So let's look at the gifts that you're bringing in, you know. We looked at your power with the Divine Feminine deck. You know, so what gifts are connected to that? And how can embracing your inner child bring in these gifts? Whoa, that's a lot of cards. I'm just going to take that to mean that there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of gifts here. That's probably why crown chakra is coming through twice. I teach Reiki, so my suggestion would be envisioning universal love and light as a white light. You can also envision it as gold or, you know, violet light. Also as green healing light. Just envision that coming down through your crown chakra, like moving down through your chakras down also into the earth, so that you can also seed these gifts into the material plane here as you live here. And then, you know, you bridge the heaven and earth. And that's how you bridge it. You imagine that universal life force energy flowing through all of your chakras, also down into the earth energy, because that's often the step that we miss, is grounding that universal energy. And then you have people, spiritual teachers, who have difficulty living their gifts here on the earth plane because it feels too dense. But what you need to do is ground those gifts into Pachamama, into Mother Earth, and allow yourself to be supported. With the 27 here, I feel like there's divine messages that want to come through. So some of you may be channels, you may be card readers, you may be astrologers, you may be Reiki teachers, you know, you may be Thai massage and acupuncture, you know, different spaces. And those of you who aren't necessarily on some kind of path like that, you may be going into the corporate world every day. You can bring your divine messages into that space by just, you know, you can say a prayer before meetings. I have videos I can link where you give yourself Reiki for 4 minutes. You receive Reiki before meetings to bless that space, to bring peace into that space. A lot of you who are working in the corporate space may need to consciously connect to the energy of peace on a regular basis. So let's see what jumped out here. Intention. And that's exactly what I was feeling with this energy of peace for those of you in the corporate space. Like there's a need to intentionally, clearly connect to the energy of peace. Look at this at the bottom, flamingo with community. How beautiful. And you know, it's interesting because just to come back to the flamingo, for example, they're not naturally pink. When they're born, they're gray. And then the pink color comes from what they eat. So when I see a flamingo, I wanted to say when I see a flamenco, when I see a flamingo, some of you probably need to dance it out. When I see a flamingo, I know, be aware of what you're eating. Be aware of the sustenance that you're taking in. And that's not just food. That's words as well. It's energy. It's the people around you, you know, be aware of what you're taking in because it's going to color you pretty much. The bottom, the snake with transformation also. Okay, let's see. Jaguar with intention. Set your intentions. Frog, healing. Bringing in that healing energy. Frogs are also a symbol of opportunity for me. Manta ray with presence. Water dragon with balance. Crab with trust. Ooh, cardinal with passion. And orangutan with creation. It's interesting because my stomach is growling the entire time. Are you taking care of yourself? Just make sure you're taking care of yourself. That you're looking after yourself. You're feeding yourself. Make sure you're nurturing and nourishing yourself. Okay, bringing that energy of balance. For those of you in the corporate space, you may need to be more conscious about that, you know? And those of you in the spiritual space who are spiritual teachers, one of the things I teach in my Reiki seminars is about how important it is for the Reiki, you know, for the Reiki, how do you say that in English? I teach it in English and in German, but for the person who's doing the Reiki therapist, it's important for them to make sure that they are taking care of their energy, that they are replenishing their own energy. And that when they're sending Reiki, they're not sending their own energy. It should always be universal love and light. And the and you're just acting as a channel for that love and light. So you just need to make sure when you go into different spaces, are you sending your energy or you allow universal energy to flow through you? Because if you're coming home depleted, you may need to act more as a channel and just let energy flow through you and not be investing your own energy into it. Okay. Okay. And you can allow this universal energy to come through and support this healing. But there's a need to be present and to set that intention. Okay. Here we have the crab with trust. This is again Cancer energy, right? The sacred inner sanctuary, trusting in yourself. A lot of people say, I believe in God, I believe in the universe, but you can't believe in God and the universe if you don't believe in yourself. As it says in the Oracle of Delphi, and I'm pretty sure I will bring this quote every reading I do. Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods. This is inscribed in one of the rooms at the Oracle of Delphi. And it's just reiterating and underlining that within you is God and the universe. So when you say, I believe in the universe, when you say, I believe in God, then you have to believe in yourself as well, because that is who you are, right? So this is an energy of self-trust. And with the 14 here, which was significant in the first pile as well, there's an energy of new foundations. New foundations that require your positive outlook, because where your focus is, that is what grows. So you want your focus to be in an energy of trust, an energy of positivity as your passions and your creativity comes through. I also associate the cardinal with my grandmother. So there may be a loved one also wanting to communicate to you that they're here, that they're looking after you, that you are not alone. Part of that embrace may be from your ancestors and your lineage saying you are not alone, we're moving with you. We're here, we're present. You know, you're not alone. We're embracing you, we're nurturing you. Okay. Okay. It was interesting because I had gone to visit my mother in the hospital in like a healing facility, and my grandmother had just passed, and there was a cardinal that just kept knocking on my mother's window, just kept knocking on her window. And it was funny, when I came, I associate the cardinal with my grandmother. So when I came and I saw that cardinal knocking on her window, I was like, oh my gosh, it's grandma. She's sending a message that she's here. But before I could even say anything, my mother went, I don't know why this cardinal just keeps knocking on my window. And I was like, it's grandma. It was my granny, who was a teacher for 32 years. She was a teacher and she gave so much of herself. And so I'm just wondering, are you someone who gives so much of yourself? Are you showing up for yourself, though, my love? Know that your lineage is showing up for you. Creation, there's an energy of creativity here, okay? There's opportunity and creativity here with your moja and with the orangutan. So what is it you want to create? What is it you want to bring into life? And once you've got that as a clear vision, you need to trust and set those intentions, okay? But it may be that sometimes you feel thwarted on your path. But what's happening actually, what I noticed as I went my path, is that we're all meant to live our life mission and soul purpose. And we're meant to live it with ease. However, as we go our life mission and soul purpose, we sometimes have to face our shadow. And when we face our shadow, we end up in a space where we're doing healing work. So it's not that you're being thwarted. It just may be that some healing work, for example, healing the self-doubt, may need to take place in order for you to enjoy what it is that wants to crystallize for you, and then to enjoy it with wisdom and with discernment, okay? So that it's actually bringing more fulfillment and replenishment to your life, okay? So let's get a last message from our Mother Moon, who loves us unconditionally. What is a message that pile 2 can take with them? Ooh, that one jumped out. I love jumping cards. So let's just see if we need to clarify this at all. Conclusions are within reach. Full moon eclipse. How beautiful. We've got eclipse energy here. And the eclipse, you can see the eclipses that were before your birth in your birth chart. And you can see the lunar as well as the solar eclipse. And what they're teaching is what you've come here to learn and what you've come here to teach. So depending on where your eclipses are, The lunar eclipse, depending on where that is letting you know what you've come here to learn. And the solar eclipse, depending on where that is letting you know what you've come here to teach. And this looks more like a lunar eclipse to me because of the red moon. So you're learning, you're growing, but what you need to do is believe in the impossible. Okay? Believe in that blue moon. It may feel rare. As I was saying when we were choosing the piles, clarifying the piles, there's a message of rarity for me with the citrine because, it's become difficult to find really true citrine. There's a lot of fake citrine out there, which is heated amethyst, and it looks like positively orange. And so you're a rarity. You're that blue moon, okay? You're quite special. And so know that conclusions to old cycles are within reach. And it's not just conclusions, but solutions are within reach. And one way that you can really connect to that energy is just allowing that divine universal energy to flow through your crown chakra. And this can't be a coincidence that the universe is right above the crown chakra. Just let that energy flow. And look how the arms are up. In Reiki, we do the Hatsurai Ho meditation, and the meditation begins with our arms raised. There are a lot of Reiki rituals that begin with the arms raised because you're that funnel. You're that funnel for the universal energy. That's why we raise our hands to receive that universal energy, and then we allow it to flow through us. Okay? So, my love, that is your reading. I do offer Starseed Astrology Birth Charts reading. If that's interesting to you, you will find that information in the description below. I do not press people for readings. It's there and available if it feels good to you. And I just want to send so much love and say I'm so proud of you, and just allow that wisdom that is within you to flow through you. Much love. Well, hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading. So you chose the card Trickster as well as the Clear Quartz. Yeah, the Trickster energy. I like that. It reminds me, of course, it's the Magician. And I just have a question. Like, are these balls flying into the hat or are they flying out? And with the way her hair is going, I feel like there's a whoosh, like it's flying out, like whoosh. So let's see if that has any significance later. And this is an amplification, but I think it might be interesting that this is also meant to be a necklace. I'm not sure if you can see that hole. It's also meant to be a necklace and kind of worn around the neck. And crystal points can be really effective in helping us to really gather our energy, So let's see what your card here is. Prepare for romance. I feel the energy of Venus so strongly lately. And, Venus is an incredibly bright planet in the sky. And, it's one of the planets that's closer to the sun and close to Earth. So we have the new moon in Libra coming up at the time when I'm recording this on October 2nd, 2024. So I'm just saying, because Libra is, ruled by Venus, and it's an energy of relationships and learning about the self more through relationships, bringing your whole self, your true self into your relationships, not allowing yourself to forget who you are in your relationships. So let's see. And it's interesting. I'm wondering how this trickster and how this whoosh of energy is going to play into this, but let's find out. Okay. I'm feeling like if you've had trickster energy in your relationships in the past, there's an opportunity for new cycles. And one of the ways that you can really prepare for romance is to heal or let go of that disappointment. Okay. What I like here is that the light attribute is saying, oh my gosh, is that on camera? Look how victory and success fell out while I was saying, I feel like in the past, you've experienced disappointment, deception. There's something new on the horizon. And in order to prepare for romance, we got to be in this victory energy. We are moving as a collective from victim to victor. Okay. We have a choice here. So this is an opportunity, I feel like, for victory and success. That fell out. Look, oh my gosh, look at the bottom of the deck. Fulfillment of wishes. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is Nine of Cups. This is Nine of Cups energy. So, wow. This is the John Holland Tarot. That's, based on the traditional tarot. So let's see. What's the message here? Where are we headed? Oh, this one wanted to come out. Let's see. Interesting. Look, this is the Magician. We've got Magician energy here. And the Magician is telling us you've got everything you need. Everything is coming out of the hat, So it's there. It's there. Are you sharing yourself? Are you allowing yourself to be seen in all of your beauty? Look at all these spirals here. Spirals to me are places where universal energy not just thrives, but really gathers, and it becomes incredibly potent. So I also teach Reiki. In Reiki, we have symbols, and one of the symbols incorporates the energy of the spiral, and the spiral in that symbol is about bringing together the full force of universal energy, So there's a message there. There's an opportunity there to really channel your energy and put positivity into what you want to create. There's magic here. There's magic happening. Okay. And if you remember in the Rider-Waite Tarot, like all of the wand, the coin, the cup, the sword, they're all on the card, like either on the table or in his hand, or they're all present. They're there. And look, this infinity sign, like everything you need is right within you. So if you're feeling like you're not good enough, we got to change that story to the truth. The waiting game. Okay. So some of you may have been waiting for a while for this message or even for that to crystallize. But I'm just kind of wondering, like, how is your waiting taking place? Because I think I told this story in the pile too, but I noticed that there's a difference between patience and waiting. So I asked my guides, like, can you explain to me the difference? Because I'm not quite getting it. And so they explained that waiting is when you're sitting and you're just looking at the door and you're waiting for something to come. You're like, it's got to come. It's got to come. I want it. I've sent out the desire. I set the intention. I set the goals. It's got to come. And the entire time while you're saying it's got to come and looking at the door, your energy is focused on lack. Why? Because you're focused on the fact that it's not there. And your focus is like the sun. Wherever you point your energy, that's what you're going to nourish. That's what's going to grow. So what's happening when we're waiting is that we're actually nourishing the absence of the thing. When we are patient, what's happening is we're going out. We're like these, we're like this growing here. We're going out. We're living our lives. We're growing. We're enjoying and trusting in the process that everything we need and everything we want for our not just our resources, but for our pleasure and enjoyment is coming to us. But we're not sitting staring at the door focused on the fact that it's not there. We're embracing more of an energy of life, living life, enjoying. Okay, what else? Authority. So my immediate question is, who's the authority in your life? Are you the authority in your life? You have a strong, stable core and center. Like, look at this belt. You have a strong, stable core or center. This is the Emperor in traditional tarot. Balance. Oh, the heart chakra coming up and prepare for romance. I like that. Positive movement forward. I tried to hide this hole. Can you see this hole in this? This is actually one of my favorite scarves, but I felt like I like the color of gold and I just wanted it to be here. Like it's this energy of promise. And I was laying down the heart chakra thinking about whether or not to say anything on this just yet. And then I saw this hole and I was about to cover it with positive movement forward. And I just feel like if you feel like there's a hole, like Where is this person? Where is my person? I feel like this hole is being replaced with the sun. Follow the sun. It's coming. There's positive movement forward. And 48 is a number of abundance for me. Foundations leading to abundance. And it's also divine feminine energy, the 8. And the 4 being for me a bit like masculine energy, like the emperor. And look at it, 484. You've got rest and rejuvenate. So I feel like your energy needs to come to a place of peace, a place of positive expectation, out there living your life, knowing everything you need, everything that is for your highest, greatest good and desire is coming to you. It may feel like it's stagnating, but look at this positive movement forward. The waves are taking the boat in the right direction. Looking at how the sails are, there's wind there. You can't necessarily see that in the photo, but if you pay attention to how the sail is shaped, there's wind. There's momentum in that direction. So let's take a look at how we can invite this energy in. Okay, let's see. How can we invite this energy in? I'm doing it in a different order than I did with the other piles. You know, this is the Justice card. So what belongs to you is coming to you, okay? It just may not feel like it, but what will help is you being an authority in your life. You know, Libra reminds us, Libra is teaching us not to forget ourselves in relationships. That's how codependency happens. So if you have placements in the 7th house, placements in Libra, perhaps you have Libra on the 4th house, for example, or Libra in one of the 4 major directions, the ascendant, descendant, midheaven, or Imam Kodi, then, you know, you may need to pay attention to making sure that you're cognizant of your own needs while also being cognizant of the needs of others. But you're not forgetting yourself, who you are, what you need, in an effort to make sure that harmony is there, or to be free of rejection. How can we invite this in? And I'm just going with my intuition here, because usually in the other decks I did it in a different order, but I just kind of want to do this way. We're talking about the invitation. You know, Camel with celebration is at the bottom of the deck, okay? And this is telling me, like, justice, you know, justice. So there's an energy of trust, and you can trust best by celebrating this positive outcome as if it's already crystallized. And I say specifically as if it's already crystallized because I feel like when we say the word manifest, we've got this thought of it being drawn in. But my feeling with this reading is it's already with you. It's just the right divine timing is coming for it to physically appear, for it to crystallize. How can we invite this in? Inspiration, the peacock. And what I'm immediately feeling with this peacock is like the feathers, you know, like when they have their feathers fanned out, they are just absolutely stunning. They're stunning. And that's the question that I have for you. Do you know that you're stunning? Or is there some kind of self-deprecation here where you're not aware, where look at this. The die must have run when this card was being printed. And I'm just wondering, are there tears? Are there feelings of not being good enough? Are there feelings that the fact that, you know, a partner might not have been there, or past partners might not have been as true and loyal? Is there, you know, sadness there? But this can heal now. This can heal. And you can take up a space of authority in your own life. We sometimes need to redefine power and authority and make sure that we're not living other people's values. And that's where Venus also comes in. If you have Venus in opposition to Pluto or squaring Pluto, if there are any kind of difficult aspects between Pluto and Venus, there can be an energy of, you know, others' values being pushed onto your life. And then it's the question, do you go along with that? Or are you living according to your own values and your own belief systems? You know, are you the authority in your life? Solitude, the fox. So you may need to have had that time alone, you know, or if you're coming out of a relationship and you're just wanting to know that the next one is coming, you may need this period because the fox is incredibly clever. And one reason why the fox is clever is because it knows when to be seen and when not to be seen. And I think it's so interesting that you've got the peacock right next to the fox. So you've got the peacock with such a strong presence and like, look at me. And then you've got the fox who's about stealth. You know, they know how to make sure they're not being seen. And when they're in that solitude, they can get clear. There's clarity, there's planning, there's cunning, but of a positive sort. There's cunning, you know? So you may need a bit of this energy to help you see more clearly. And when I see a fox, this is also for me, the job space, helping you transition to a new job. So part of the romance, it may be a partner, it may be love, but it may also be in the career space. You know, it may be transitioning into your life, passion, and purpose full time. You know, that could be the romance. I know that I feel like as I live my life, passion, and purpose, it's a complete and true romance. You know, I'm the authority figure in my life now. I'm no longer, you know, but I also have to take responsibility. You know, there's no boss to blame. You know, if there's a poor decision, I know who made it, you know? But I love that because I get to take up the space of authority in my life. So some of you may be here for romance. Others of you may have felt like this pile is for you because you're transitioning into something new that is going to see you completely in love with it. Something's being amplified, you know, something's coming in and being amplified. It's interesting because right before the reading, I saw this labradorite and I grabbed it and just put it on the desk. And, you know, labradorite is quite beautiful. It kind of reminds me of the peacock, you know, with the colors. And it's also a protection stone, you know, like this reading is protected. You're protected as you go these new paths. Curiosity, the alpaca with 27. And 27 is for me a message of messages, divine messages wanting to come through. Wagtail essence. So part of your essence may be curiosity. It may be wanting to learn new things. What I also like about the alpaca is they're curious in the sense of they're quite strange, you know, like they spit, they kick. They're just pretty. I just consider them incredibly unique, you know, in the way they express and interact. They are so present. You know, I had the privilege of working at a space for children where there were alpacas, and they're just incredibly present, you know, so you may need to be more present in your curiosity. Jabiru foundation. Spider as a dream weaver. In this solitude, you could be daydreaming and using your visualizations to pull in your highest, greatest good. Shark with instinct, I said. I don't know. That may be significant for you. With instinct, I think that's interesting. What's your ascendant? Because I associate the ascendant with your instinct, how you naturally respond to the world without thinking. Bear, protection. What did I just say with the labradorite? What did I just say? You're protected, my love. You're protected. And look at this 40 here. Whenever a 0 is behind another number, it's amplifying that number. So we've got the authority card being amplified. Just think about mama bears. They don't take ish. You know what I mean? What I think about when I see the stark, by the way, stark in German is strong. So when I see the shark, what I'm thinking of is this message. I think I saw it once on spirit-animals.com. I think it was that site. I went into a spirit animal like rabbit hole. And they just started coming to me after I did Reiki 2. So what I remember learning about the shark is that a shark is asking you to focus on your strengths, that you've been too cognizant of your weaknesses in the past and that's hindering. And here, look at these diamonds. I don't know if you can see it because it's pretty minuscule, but these diamonds and the number 10, which is the destiny card, right? The Wheel of Fortune. So you're a diamond. Look at all these crystals growing out of this space. The question is like, what are you thinking about? And the hammerhead to me is an energy of protection. It's an energy of protection. So I feel like trust your instinct and trust who you naturally are and allow that to come through. It just may be that in understanding who you are naturally, you may be focusing too much on what you perceive to be weaknesses instead of strength. And I recently wrote a LinkedIn post that I have yet to post about how weaknesses strengthen the community. And it sounds like an oxymoron. Weaknesses strengthen the community. But what happens is when we have spaces where we might not be the best at something, it gives us the opportunity to reach out to our network and have networks around us. I have a network of people who are good at things that I'm not great at. And then when I need help with something, I reach out to them. When they need help with something, they reach out to me in the spaces where I have my strengths. So we support each other. We're a community and we support each other. And so I feel like weaknesses strengthen community because they give you a permission to build a community that is supportive to you. And also sometimes weaknesses simply translate as I am not interested in this. Weaknesses don't have to do with someone not being good at something. Sometimes they just lack the interest to become good at it. We all know that we can learn habits. So for example, rocket science, there's always that joke of people being or not being rocket scientists. I have absolutely no interest in rocket science. You know what I mean? Like I'm interested in the results, but not really in performing what needs to be performed to get the rocket. So I've seen rocket launches in California, which it was amazing to watch, but the science behind it, there was someone next to me explaining everything. And I thought that's incredibly interesting. But I, in my full-time pursuit of my life mission and soul purpose, will certainly not be in that space. And that is a blessing to the community that I am not in that space. So sometimes what I'm trying to say is what we're not good at is sometimes just a lack of interest. It's not something where we need to pull ourselves down or be like, oh, I'm dumb, I'm not good at this. It's just a lack of interest. I don't really have the greatest interest in certain traditional things where I'm just so glad that there are other people who love these things because then they can bless me. For example, I love to travel, but I'm not really the person who likes to plan the travel. I don't really like planning these kinds of things. But I have people in my network and community who are very good at that. And so I think it just gives us an opportunity to really support each other. In German, we would say ergänzen. We help each other to make up a whole. That's what it says in the Bible. Like we are all parts of the same whole. Like the hand is good at hand things and the foot is good at foot things. But if the foot tries to be the hand, we're lost. So I feel like there's an energy of be yourself and just know that how you are is how you're meant to be. And that's what comes out when I read birth charts for people. That's usually what comes out of the birth chart. There's a confirmation for who they naturally feel they are. And then the chart just ends up giving them permission to be themselves in the end. So I feel like coming back to your natural essence is important. But I did want to look at this bird because I'm not sure if the wagging of the tail is a mating call, which could be important for our romance preparation. Let's see. Because it's called wagtail because they wag their tails. It says here, the essence is get back to your roots and lighten up. The small wagtail is a ground-feeding bird that is a part of the fantail family. They have a joyful spirit that reminds us to be playful, spirited, and childlike. When life feels heavy, as if we are carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, we can look to a wagtail to see that life doesn't have to be so serious all the time. That in fact, in order to make a greater and more positive impact on the planet, we must look at continually maintaining our own positivity. Remember, where the sun is pointed, that is what's going to grow. The wagtail offers us the gift of reconnecting with our own essence, our purpose, our soul, and our connection to all that is divine. As he sits on the grass, foraging for insects, swaying and fanning his big tail feathers in the air, we are reminded of the importance of staying grounded and remembering the childhood memories we collect. Having fun, playing, dancing, and singing, returning to these ancient practices for pure happiness. we are able to see what it is that always drove us to do such big work in this world, the innocence, the essence, and the beauty in life that we wish to continue to preserve for generations to come. I think this is beautiful, and it reminds me very much of the last pile, of pile two, because we have here an energy of healing the inner child, allowing yourself to be joyful, allowing yourself to be playful. And for me, even though it didn't say anything specifically about the wagtail bringing in a partner, I do feel like as we move in a space of joy, we bring in the energy, the relationships, the connections that are for our highest and greatest good. So let's ask Lord Ganesha to share more, tell us more about how can we prepare for romance, and what are the opportunities that are coming? How can we prepare more for romance, and what are the opportunities that are coming? Okay. Ooh, look at the bottom. 11, embrace. That's beautiful, nurturing energy, love energy, Venusian energy. Okay. Fulfillment, courage. Ganesha is a energy it's pretty much like an angelic energy that clears obstacles. Inner knowing, who clears obstacles? Concentration. We're building something here. Some of you are here because you're building something. So when we're talking about prepare for romance, it's not just partnership. And I don't mean just in a way like it's not just that. I mean it in a way of there are options here. Like there's a lot here. Like some of you are here for love. Some of you are here for a different kind of love, like in the space of career. Childlike expression, this card came out in the last pile because again, I feel like with the wagtail, coming back to our true essence, we're healing our inner child. To push that up so you can see it. We're bringing back that childlike curiosity, okay? But it may require us to really get started and to be focused. Look at this concentration. And these two cards have to do with learning, Here with the fulfillment, look at Lord Ganesha reading the scrolls, and his mouse friend is bringing more scrolls to him. So this is an energy of knowledge can bring you farther, So if you're looking for romance, you may be reading and learning about love languages. You may be learning more about yourself and who you are, because we teach people how to treat us through how we treat ourselves. If this is for you in the space of career, you may be learning about whatever particular area it is that you desire to pursue. You may also be learning about who you are as a leader. And I think that's something where we don't really put enough energy. I also wrote a LinkedIn post about that I've yet to post, is that we've got to start learning about leadership before we move into these positions. So if you're already in a position of leadership, I would say courage, and then allow yourself to learn more. Inner knowing. So you've got the intuition, you've got the gift, you've got the ability, and your inner child is what's going to help you unlock this inner knowing. Giving yourself permission to reconnect with that inner playfulness, just like the wild wagtail is reminding us to be playful. This is going to give you the right kind of foundation. Your inner child is going to help you to dream, to visualize. And we've got the 61 here, which breaks down old foundations and allows the new in. Okay. So some of you may be writing a book as well, with this concentration, maybe allowing your experiences to help and support others. I know this woman, she did a post on Instagram about like 5 books she thought was great. And then someone posted that the books were all from white men, and if she had any suggestions that came from other groups, other demographics. And I wrote in a comment, maybe this is a call for you to write a book, to the woman who was posting the Instagram reel, because she would have come from a different demographic than the ones she was suggesting. And usually I don't really comment or do anything on these, I'm just kind of getting into social media really. And she wrote back, and you could tell, like, I felt like there was just kind of a little bit of fear in the energy. And really, these books that are being recommended and stuff, these individuals, all they did was go all in on a topic that they really enjoyed, and they learned as much as they could about it, and then they summarized it in a book for others. It's really all they did, you know? And I don't say it's all they did in order to diminish the work of authors, because I'm writing a lot at the moment as well. And I know that is quite the process. But what I'm saying is, what is happening there is exactly what Ganesha is doing in these pictures, you know, reading, engaging, concentrating, allowing the inner knowing just to come through, and putting it to paper in a particular structure. And then the courage comes in, because Ganesha clears obstacles, particularly for writers. It's just allowing the self to trust and to keep working on it. You know, a book is a process, you know, which is why I definitely don't want to diminish the act of writing a book. But that's one thing I wanted to express to her, is that it's amazing that she admires these books that these men wrote, and they are tremendous. They are great books. It's a great accomplishment for these men, and she could be amongst the list of books that she one day recommends, if she allows herself to just go full in on her purpose and her passion. If she doesn't feel like that's her calling, then that's completely okay. But there's opportunity there, you know. Go full in on your passion. If you have something that you feel is calling you, and it requires your concentration, it requires your devotion, then be courageous and give it the time it deserves, and allow your inner knowing to flow into whatever it is that you're working on. And your inner child will help you to connect to that energy. And one thing I did a lot of soul retrieval work. I had a lot of inner child healing to do on my path. And one thing I did was really embracing my inner child. Look at this, embracing and nurturing my inner child, reminding my inner child of her innocence, you know, and also just allowing divine energy, this crown chakra, to come through and flow to my inner child. And so sometimes I would just lay in bed and just, you know, have my hands on my heart, have my hands on my solar plexus, depending on where I felt the energy needed to go, and just being like, wow, we did that. We did it so well. I'm so proud of you. I love you. I love your voice. I'm here for you now. I'm protecting you now. I hope this movement of the mic isn't too loud for you guys. And it's interesting that I just said that. I hope the movement of the mic isn't too loud for you guys, because that's what my inner child, that's what my childhood was like. I was loud, and people felt like I was too loud. Okay, these three just fell out. And I know we saw these in another deck, at least the first one, definitely. So let's just pick out another for... I want to understand your power. Like, what is your power? What is your gift? Okay. At the bottom, we have Green Tower, the Buddha of enlightened action. And it's interesting because I accidentally bumped this card while I was pulling these cards. And I thought, there's something that pile number 3 really needs to concentrate on. They really need to get focused. And then here's Green Tower with the Buddha of enlightened action. My soul informs my every step. I do what my heart compels me to do. So it's following your inner knowing. And she has quite a powerful story, the Green Tower. Okay, so jumping cards. Let's look at the jumping cards first. Perpetua with authenticity. These cards did come out in a previous deck. I believe it was pile 2, but I'm not quite sure. But you may want to check those previous decks out. So there's a need for authenticity, and that's going to help you find the way. Being your true self is going to help you find the way. So Perpetua, she was captured for her beliefs and prosecuted for her beliefs. I believe it was her belief in Christ. And she refused to denounce her beliefs, even though her family, others begged her to save her life and just say what they wanted to. Okay, we're back. That was a battery thing. So Perpetua, I was talking about this, her being the saint of authenticity, refusing to change her story or denounce her story to please others or even to save her life. So, this is just a card reminding us to give ourselves to be authentic in all circumstances. And it may be that in a there were situations that maybe in a past life even where it didn't go so well being true to the self. So sometimes we have like um, messages, like be careful being yourself. It could be dangerous. And these are limiting beliefs that we're letting go of. And that's a strong message in this reading in general. Like, what are the limiting beliefs that you can let go of? Because I think some of you, these limiting beliefs are keeping you from concentrating on your work and getting done what you need to get done so that this romance can come through. Whether this romance is a partner or it's your self employment or, a new career, a new opportunity, or soul family, whatever it is that you're wanting to crystallize that's going to bring you in a newer and higher space of love. I feel like there may be limiting beliefs that are keeping you from, focusing on what it is you need to focus to allow that energy to crystallize and to come through. But I feel like there's a message of don't despair because we have Ariadne here who knows the way out of the labyrinth, right? So Ariadne was a part of Crete, Greek culture, the island of Crete, where the Minotaur was. There were children being sacrificed every 7 years to the Minotaur. And then Theseus decides to go in and to bring an end to it. He's like, I'm going to defeat the Minotaur. And Ariadne supports him by giving him what he needs to do so. She gives him a sword. What is going on? Gives him a sword to defeat the Minotaur, but she also gives him yarn so he can find the way out of the labyrinth. So she's resourceful. Like she's got the bases covered. She's like, you don't just have to defeat the Minotaur, but you got to find a way out. And, I got everything. It's here for you. So you may be someone who's incredibly resourceful, who's got the bases covered. Like, what needs to be done. The only thing that may be stopping you from doing it is belief in yourself, right? And we've got Yemoja here. And Yemoja is a Yoruban goddess, from the Nigerian culture. And, Yemoja is present in other cultures as well, but I believe she stems from the Yoruban and Nigerian tradition. And look at this heart, like look at this artwork and the purity of her heart and the warmth of her heart. And I feel like you've got a pure and warm heart, and that might not always have been appreciated. And it may be that you're in an ocean of emotion right now, but that ocean of emotion can also inspire creativity as you give birth to what exists within you, as you find the way out of the labyrinth. But as Ariadne says here, the only way out is through. The only way out is like Saturn energy. Saturn is always helping us to see more clearly where we have limiting beliefs. And Saturn's always saying, release these limiting beliefs so that you can enjoy the freedom and the power of Uranus energy. And so I feel like here, in order to step into your innovative and rebellious rebellion of the status quo energy, because that's what it says here, right? Transcending convention, stuffiness, and predictable behavior. To me, that's Aquarian energy. That's Uranus energy. And so Saturn's wanting to provide the bridge, releasing your limitations to go into that Uranus energy of freedom. And the way you can do that is through authenticity, right? Listening to yourself, listening to your inner wisdom, and taking steps step by step, because that's also a message from Saturn. Saturn says, we're not paying attention to quantity. We're not rushing. We're looking at the quality, not from a energy of perfectionism, but just an energy of sure-footedness. That's how those goats climb those steep walls, is that they give themselves permission to be sure-footed. So they don't put themselves down for moving step by step. They know that their decision to move step by step is actually what helps them create magic, which is climbing those incredible walls. Mioshan The Princess of Mercy, giving is receiving. The energy of the universe is merciful. And look at that white tiger, an energy of vision. Dakini, the enlightened feminine. My gut instinct is wise beyond reason. I trust my intuition to guide me. Okay, you've got a lot of messages about instinct, about inner knowing. Even the ocean is a symbol of emotion and intuition. The child, the inner child, like there's just all these messages that what you need is already, within you. I always refer to the Dakini as the Skywalker. I don't know if that's also in the description, if that's where I have it from, but you've got the ability to move using universal life force energy. There's great opportunity and great power here. But here we have this message again with Kali. There are some limiting beliefs that need to be destroyed so that you can move forward with self-confidence. Teresa of Avila, Our Lady of the Interior Life. I trust the answers I find within me. I know that the presence of love is real. Again, we have inner knowing and intuition. So if you've been doubting yourself, this trickster card, sometimes when I see Seven of Swords, trickster energy, it communicates to me that this person is not aware of their power. They see themselves in a way that actually kind of brings cloud to their sunlight, and that's where Kali can come in. I mean, we need not be afraid of this card and this energy, because the head she's holding is actually like a physical representation of a limiting belief or something that's not for our highest, greatest good. And so Kali is a destructive energy that's actually positive in that sense, and that it's a release of inner energy that would hold us back from our true feminine power. That is not gender specific. And what I really love about Kali is, to me, like, I did a channeling with Kali and she spoke about the energy of flourishing. It's not just about abundance. Like, I'm sorry, I just touched the mic again. I just want to flourish. As I touch my heart, I touch the mic and I'm like, but what's your message? What's the message coming from your heart? And what limiting beliefs do you need to let go of to allow that energy through? And what I also just want to mention with regards to Kali is, I was reading the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda, and I think his name is Paramhansa Yogananda. And, in the footnotes, this tells you how great this book is if the footnotes are already profound. In the footnotes, he talks about the Upanishads and how there are 3 different vibrations of Om. And the 3 vibrations are creation, preservation, and destruction. And that in the Bible, he talks about how in the Bible, there was the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And he's talking about how that is referring to the 3 vibrations of Om that can create, preserve, or destroy. And what we need to understand, and this is still Yogananda in the footnotes, is that when we speak words, we are calling into being one of those 3 vibrations of Om. We are either creating, we are preserving, or we are destroying. And so I just sat with this wisdom for a while. And what I realized is that creation, preservation, and destruction can also have higher and lower vibrations. So when you're creating, that sounds positive. But the question is, what are you creating with your words? Are you creating something that's actually fulfilling, or are you creating something that's actually pulling you back? When you're preserving, are you preserving things that actually need to be released, or are you preserving things that are going to continue to support you on your journey? When you're destroying, are you destroying the things that are for your highest, greatest good, or are you destroying old structures that need to be removed so that your highest, greatest good can come through? So with these, when you're speaking about yourself and to yourself, remember, each time you are calling into being one of the 3 vibrations of Om, you are creating, you are preserving, or you are destroying. And you can ask yourself, what's my self-talk like? Who am I in romance? Who am I in my team at work? Who am I in my family situation? Am I bringing my authenticity? Are these spaces where I feel safe and I can bring my authenticity to light? Is my self-talk talk that's actually allowing me to feel and to know the beauty that is within me? let's see what you're moving into. So again, this pile number 3 is moving in a little differently than the first 2 piles. So we're going to look at what you're moving into. Okay, and I feel like this one. Okay. And look at the bottom with doubt. So some of you are really releasing self-limiting beliefs and also just releasing towers. You know, there are tower moments happening, disruption moments happening where old structures are being removed. Old structures that are potentially holding you back are being removed. What are you coming into? Look at all this powerful energy. And with Teresa of Avila, she got her work done. She did what she came to do. And she was in a lot of pain, actually, at the time that she was writing her book, The Interior Life. I think, no. Is it called The Interior Life or is it called The Seven Castles? I think it's called The Interior Life, and she talks about the 7 castles or something similar to that. I have the book, but I haven't finished it. But I remember in the story, she was in pain while she was writing the book, but she felt like she had to get it done. And so this is not me pushing you to ignore health or ignore needs for rest. It's just this message of concentration and writing, getting your things done is just coming through. So, but look at the dove here. The white dove is often the Holy Spirit. And so there's the inspiration of spirit in the universe coming through to inspire what you're doing. So again, there's this message of inner knowing. You may be channeling, you may be, again, writing a book, you may be creating digital products, you may be reading or wanting to start that tarot, pick a card channel, and you have it. So there's opportunity here, but there may be limiting beliefs and old structures that must be destroyed so that you can be light as a feather and walk the sky like the Dakini does. But give yourself mercy. And here's giving is receiving. So as you go your life purpose and your path and you're giving, you're sharing your gift, that's when you'll start receiving. So what are you moving into? Oh, look at the dolphins, happiness. I am aware that being happy means that I am on the right path. So we're moving into happiness. Look at that spiral energy again, like the spirals here, concentrating universal life force energy. Some of you may be into Thai massage, acupuncture, Reiki, pranic healing, or anything that works with this type of universal life force energy, with chi, with prana, with ki. Change. You're moving towards change. Energetic movement. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. Movement is a powerful healer. We're coming out of regret. You are coming out of regret. I know that I cannot change the past. So some of you may also be feeling like, oh, all that time I did nothing, or, going back through journals and realizing you had the message of what your passion was and what you needed to do 3 years ago, and you're just now moving towards it. Understand, sometimes we have to experience different things, learn different things, glean wisdom, grow before we can live certain passions. So just because you didn't immediately act on it 3 years ago in a specific way doesn't mean you weren't working towards it. It just may be that you were working towards it more in the space of healing, in the space of letting go of energies that do not serve you. You were moving towards your life mission and soul purpose, perhaps in a different way. Honesty. I can't always expect the truth from others, but I can expect it from myself. Again, so we're coming out of trickster energy. If you've had negative experiences in the past, remember this very first jumping card that came out, victory and success. Moving towards more honest relationships. And I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch adults. I used to pay attention to them. And I remember thinking, wow, adults aren't honest with themselves. Like they just tell themselves certain stories and they tell it to others until they believe it themselves. And I remember I was really young, and I remember I promised myself, I said, no matter what, even if you can't say it out loud or say it to others, always be honest with yourself. And that's just a policy that I've always kept with myself. It's like an inner code that I have, an inner code of conduct, an inner constitution I have with myself, is that I will always be honest with myself. And in the process of that honesty, I will always be compassionate with myself. Because the honest thing is not that I'm not worthy. Like, let's be honest here. You're not worthy of this job. You're not worthy of this opportunity. You're not worthy of the relationship. That's a lie. When I'm saying I'm being honest with myself, then I'm letting myself know this doesn't feel good to me, or this feels good to me. I want more of this, but I need to release that. It's just being honest with yourself. And the more you're honest with yourself, the more you'll pull in more relationships like that as well. And I feel like a space where you need to be honest with yourself is that you're wonderful. You have a message. You need to share it. You need to be able to be your authentic, true self in all situations. Adversity. We're releasing adversity, but understanding, like the wounded healer Chiron, that through adversity and through challenges, we glean wisdom, and it makes us an even better healer. We're coming into purpose. I know what I am here to do. Again, some of you are here for romance and relationships, and some of you are here for career, for life purpose and soul mission. Get that work done. You're coming into purpose. You know what you're here to do. And some of you, your romantic relationship is a part of purpose. Okay. Denial. I acknowledge my fear, but I replace it with the insight of awareness. And that is, to me, coming back to this message of insight of awareness, being honest with the self, honest about what I need to let go of, what I want more of, what I would like to enjoy, being honest, more with myself. And then by being honest with myself, pulling in more relationships that, serve me, and embrace and appreciate that honesty. Okay, so let's ask Mother Moon, who loves us unconditionally, for one last positive message as we come into a space of happiness, releasing regret, and embracing positive change. It's time to release negativity, a time for healing. Again, we have what do you need to release at the bottom of the deck. Conclusions are within reach. This came out in another pile as well. And this is just reminding me, the bottom of the deck is just reminding me of the Kali energy. I release all that doesn't serve me. It's time to be the truth of who I am. And so that's an affirmation that you can take with you as we close this reading, just repeating to yourself and really feeling it. I release all that doesn't serve me. It's time to be the truth of who I am. With full moon in Scorpio, we're facing our fears and we're releasing the negativity. If there's any kind of defeatist attitude, then it's absolutely time to let go of that. It's time to let go of any kind of defeat, energy of defeat. Okay? We're telling a new story as a collective, okay? It's a time for healing. The conclusions you need are within reach. This is a beautiful, beautiful reading. And I feel like by releasing the negativity, you're really going to allow the new that is meant for you to really flow through, to find that gentle flow. Okay? So look at this appetite heart. I feel like that's so appropriate for prepare for romance. So in your preparation, remember, you're releasing negativity, releasing negative or self-limiting beliefs. You're giving yourself permission to heal. And as you heal, as you grow, as you move more into happiness, releasing waiting, moving into the energy of patience, you will be bringing in that romance. Okay? This is your reading. I do offer Starseed Astrology Birth Chart readings. You can find information in the description. I will not reach out to you specifically for that, but I am here for you. If that is what you choose, then my information is available so that I can support you further on your journey. And I also encourage you to check out more readings and just let me know, how are you vibing with the readings in the comments below? I'm sending so much love and so many hugs. Hello, pile number 4, and welcome, community, to your pile number 4 reading, to your collective reading, I should say. I felt like there was a message that it'd be wise to have a pile that is specifically for the collective, since we're in the age of Aquarius now. And we all know that Aquarius is an energy of groups, as the astrologer Maxine Taylor would say, the 11th house Aquarius is other people's children. And who are other people's children? Humanity. So with the age of Aquarius, we're coming into an energy that's very focused on humanity and the collective and groups and networks. So I feel like when we have a pile that's specifically for the collective, then we're giving ourselves the opportunity to acknowledge that we are all one. And if you look at my birth chart, at my eclipse energy, I've come here to teach that. So it feels fitting. So you have the card Prince, romantic charm and potential for power. And we have the aqua aura quartz here, which again, this is a scientific stone that brings together powdered true gold and high quality clear quartz. And so it's quite a beautiful stone, and it's very connected to spiritual connection, receiving messages from your guides. So let's see what card. Dance it out. That's super hilarious. So the energy and the message to the collective is dance it out. We've got a lot going on in the world, and it's a question sometimes, like, how do we move through this? And I remember doing a channeling once, just trying to understand, like, how do we move through the conflict that's in the outer world? And I remember there was a message that we must be cognizant of our own personal energy, because if we're exuding an energy of conflict in our own energy, then that will also kind of just ball itself up in the collective and influence the collective energy. So what the best thing we could do is be in an energy of joy and peace. So I love that the message dance it out came here, because I remember I was doing a seminar, an event I called it Come Into Your Power. And together with this shamanic drummer, we always do, we call it the Come In series, where you come into your worth, you come into your power, you come into self-love, you come into all these different spaces. And at the Come Into Your Power event, a woman was just talking about some of the challenges she had. And while the shamanic drummer is playing, I give Reiki. And while giving Reiki, the message came through for her that there are situations where she will need to speak up for herself, but afterwards she needs to dance it out. She needs to move, because that movement will help her channel out any energy that is not hers and did not feel good to her into the earth. And so it was like this is how you cleanse. You're a dancer. You're someone who just moves intuitively, and it can be a way for you to cleanse and to release. And I think sometimes people underestimate what a healing power movement is. So the message here is dance it out. And if you've been wanting to connect more deeply to your angels and your guides and your higher self, there's an opportunity to dance your way into that as well. That movement will help us to release energies that do not belong to us and get us more grounded in who we are, right? So let's find out what's going on here. Okay, what's the story? Disruption. And I think a lot of us can feel that there are tower moments happening, perhaps in our personal lives as well as in the world. Old structures are falling. They're being let go of. And it's interesting because right below that is rejoice and celebration, because I was like, okay, so, some of these disruptions don't always feel good, but, certain things, certain towers, because this is the tower card in Tarot, old energy must be let go of so that the new can come in. And that's not to say that the conflicts that are happening around the world are justified or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's just that we're witnessing, maybe even in our personal lives, different changes that are happening. And there's potential in that. Potential for a new foundation. Look at this 24. And this is a message I keep seeing come through the 24, which is building a firm relationship with yourself. And I think that's what we all need as a collective right now is, just building that strong relationship with ourselves. And as we come more into our center, that's actually what's going to help us the most. Obstacles and challenges, patience and planning, balance. This is the Justice card. In traditional tarot, authority, Emperor, Four of Cups, discontent and boredom. Okay. It's interesting that the 1144 is here because that's a number that I often see when it's time for me to really be clear about following my life purpose and soul mission and understanding how my life purpose and soul mission is contributing to the whole. So some of you may be out there like, I've got this life mission, I've got this soul purpose, but I haven't quite got the firm foundation or even the creative idea or the self-confidence to pursue it. And some of our gifts as light workers will be contributing to bringing that Prince energy. For me, the Prince is also a light worker. This is light worker energy, that charming, romantic energy, that energy that spreads love. And when I think of a prince is very flattering, and I feel like that's kind of what we do as light workers. We're not flatterers. We're not here to flatter people, but we are helping them to see the beauty within themselves, right? And with the 2457 here, I feel like there's a message of as you deepen your relationship to self, you will experience positive change in your spiritual path. So patience and planning. So it's not that there aren't obstacles and challenges, it's that they can be surmounted with patience and planning. So if some of you are feeling like, okay, I want to move forward in different spaces, and I want to have a more positive outlook, not just for me, but for the collective. But I find it challenging at the moment. But there are opportunities here. Life happens in seasons, and there are seasons here. I think this card came out in the first pile or the second one of those. What's interesting here is there's a guide here. I never noticed that. There's a guide. It's like each step is being watched, is being looked after, Okay, so what are we moving out of? Because I think there's an opportunity to be more of an authority in your own life. The Emperor is an energy of step by step. And in the traditional Rider-Waite, like he's, you can see his armor, but he's not really dressed for war. Like he's on his throne. He's taking up the space. His authority is clear. Okay, grief. And I've seen this. A lot of people are coming out of an energy of grief, letting go of things that do not positively serve them or have not positively served them. I understand that losing something is an opportunity to appreciate it. Balance. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So with the energy of balance, we can bring more harmony into our world. Failure. I understand that a mistake is only an opportunity to learn. Imagination. I embrace. That is important. I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. I can't help it. I saw a flash of light when I said embrace. I feel like there's nurturing that needs to happen. There's some kind of nurturing. So I feel like we're coming out of an energy of thirsting in our thirst not being quenched, like dry throats. Some of us not speaking up, or when we speak up, we end up having to clear our throat or cough. Those are often indications of the throat chakra needing some love and affection. At the bottom, we have regret, So these are, we're coming out of heavy energy. And where has our mind been? Where has our collective mind been? Where has our mind been as individuals? Because I feel like the more we learn about the metaphysical, through Joe Dispenza, through Bashar, through Abraham Hicks, a lot of these resources that are available. Dolores, I believe her name is Cannon, and there are just so many spiritual teachers out there. And then you even have the Jim Rons and the Brian Tracy's that come more from a business perspective, but all of it has to do with healing. All of it has to do with focus. All of it has to do with authenticity on some level. So I feel like there's been a collective healing going on and a collective understanding of why we're here and what it means to be here. And so with the energy of dance it out, is not denying that some of this energy is heavy, like that we've been in dark nights of the soul. We've been reestablishing our foundations, but there's an opportunity for joy. There's an opportunity to bring life to what we're doing. So what are we moving into? What are we moving into as we come out of this energy of grief? What are we coming into? Oh, this wants to come out. At the bottom, success. And I always consider the bottom of the deck being like an energy that's kind of flowing into the cards that were chosen, like kind of underlining whatever was chosen. So there's an energy of success. I know that there is no greater goal than to love. So we're coming in an energy of love. And that's why, the Venus new moon at the time of doing this reading is coming up on October 2nd. We have the opportunity to bring more love into this space. Courage. So we're moving more into courage. We're releasing doubt. We're releasing the need to know all of the answers. Transformation. So death for me is transformation. I am learning that endings are merely new beginnings. So we're understanding and learning that we have the opportunity to begin anew. Self-esteem. And, this is a transformation I feel like I've been making. I've always had very high self-esteem, and then I hit some barriers in my life that I feel like kind of broke down that self-worth, that self-esteem barrier. And then I had to build it back up. But one message that I continually got as I was in that process of transformation, which for me, of course, is Scorpio energy, me facing my fears and understanding that the power that I seek actually lives within myself. Touch the microphone again. Here we have with the Prince, potential for power. And that was what I was noticing. I was releasing doubt, moving out of doubt into self-esteem. Look at that rebirth energy. And I feel like it takes a lot of courage to encounter cards that say death, But we all know it's not about any kind of physical death. This is about moving from doubt into self-esteem, letting go of self-doubt, embracing self-worth, And that's what a lot of us have been doing. I feel like this is what a lot of these readings have also been built on thus far. Growth. We're growing. We're growing as a society. We're growing as individuals. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. Perseverance. This is genuinely not the time to give up. There are a lot of people who give up right before it's about to burst forth. Again, the new moon in Libra is coming up. We have relationships here. I am attracted to those people who serve my higher good. Trust. So I almost feel like these three cards are telling the new story. We're coming out of this old and we're embracing letting go of self-doubt, having the courage to believe in ourselves and growing. And what's going to happen is that as we persevere, what we focus on is going to work, has the potential to work in our favor if we're focusing on the right things. And what we can do is bring in new relationships and trust. I feel like there's just such a strong Venus energy these days where our relationships are being transformed. And maybe you've noticed that certain relationships are coming or going, and you found yourself in a space where you got to dance it out, where you got to move, like trigger those hormones that are going to help you bring in positive energy and joy. So let's learn more about our power. Like, what are we learning about ourselves as a collective at the moment? And when I say this about the collective, I mean, we've got to understand that we are all one. So a message that's resonating with me has great chances of resonating with many. Wow. Okay. And just as I said that, all these cards fall out. Isis, the goddess of magic. Sexual energy is sacred. My pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. I feel like a lot of us are going to experience transformation in our relationships. This is the new story that's being told, And I think personally, I think that's what Aquarius does. Like Aquarius, and usually we associate like cleaning out the old with Scorpio, right? But I think Aquarius has this way of helping us get to more authentic relationships in its highest form, like in its highest vibration. And with us being in the age of Aquarius and Pluto going direct into Aquarius, we may experience some changes, but look who jumped out. Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance. I choose to feel abundant. Wealth is an inside job. This is amazing. Zhao Zhuanjing, the mystic of peace. She came out in an earlier pile. I am peace. When my mind is clear, the way is clear. And so some of us, like sometimes I'll have clients that are a little afraid about the things that are happening in the world. And one of the best ways that we can, and this is not the only way, but I'm saying on an energetic level, it's important that we be in an energy of peace because we magnetize what it is that we exude. And if we're wanting more peace, it's important that we exude also that energy of peace. She came out, I feel like, was it every pile? you know, she's come out in at least 3 of the 4, if not all 4, Perpetua, the saint of authenticity. So we're moving into authenticity. The Empress of protection. I am safe and divinely protected. I am held in love at all times. And I feel like this protection energy is important for us all at the moment. And some of us are healing like that so-called witch's wound. We're healing persecution wounds. And that's why we're coming into relationships that we can trust. Like, look how authenticity landed on top of relationships and protection landed on top of trust. We've got peace and abundance here. We're coming into relationships that we can feel good about. And some of us, again, we're healing that witch's wound. We're healing the wound of persecution. These are visible in different ways in the birth chart. And we're healing that as a collective so that we can be more of who we are. And look at this with the collective. We're coming into the divine feminine. Now, I was recently a part of a women's circle where they were talking about how do we live self-employment in feminine power and releasing the masculine, the patriarchal system that has been in place for so long so that we can live our feminine power and don't live suffocated in that. And one thing I brought to the circle was I understand this need of releasing the masculine to embrace the feminine, but we have to release the cultural / toxic masculine and still be able to move into a healthy expression of masculine energy. So it's not about letting go of the masculine. There has to be a divine marriage of both of these energies, the masculine and the feminine. Because through these polarity, we create the triangle, which leads to birth. And that is true enlightenment. True enlightenment moves in a triangle energy, not between polarities, but to this midpoint. And the midpoint of birth, bringing your creation to life, cannot happen unless you have both. So while I appreciate us moving out of us making space for the divine feminine, if we really want the divine feminine to flourish, then the divine masculine also has to have space. They flow within each other. They accept themselves and they accept each other as essences. And this is not about gender. This is about the essences. And I read once that Pythagoras said that, and he traveled a lot and studied a lot about numbers, he's considered the father of math or the father of geometry, but he traveled a lot and gained a lot of wisdom in the space of numbers. And I remember reading that he said 1 and 2 are essences and 3 is the first real number. And what I understand that to mean, with 1 being the masculine, 2 being the feminine, these are essences. The divine feminine, divine masculine are essences. And out of these essences come birth. And that's the first number. Okay. So the divine feminine is rising, but understand, if we want a true rising of the divine feminine, then we also need the masculine. And the masculine is an energy that provides a strong foundation for the divine feminine to really rise. And that doesn't mean that the masculine came first. It does not mean that the masculine came first. As you can tell, I've had so many conversations about this, and then people think, oh, but the masculine came first. There's a lot of research and philosophy that says that the divine feminine came first, and then the masculine, and then the feminine comes again. It's, there are different takes on this energy, but the truth in the end is that we need both. We need both so that we can have that, triangle of birth. And where you can see this really beautifully embodied is in the story of Horus, who is the child of Isis and Osiris, Okay, so we're moving into divine feminine power, and we're moving into a healthier expression of masculine power, understanding what that is and how we can express that. So how can we embrace more of this abundance, this peace and authenticity? At the bottom, we have sensitivity. For me, this is like coming into our gifts. And there's also, look, it's the 24 again. It's also resilience, because the starfish is very resilient, able to heal itself. Okay. So I know some readers, they make sure everything's in a straight line. I try to do my best. But there's always just connections that are happening. There's a story being told. Okay. Look at the seahorse with love. The prince. Some of you are waiting for Prince Charming or Princess Charming. They're coming. Things happen in cycles with the cicada, moth, and awareness. And with the love here, I think that's interesting because we just talked about the divine feminine, divine masculine essence. And what's interesting here is that they switch roles. The seahorse, the male actually carries the baby. And so Jeffrey Wolf Green in evolutionary astrology teaches that when Pluto is in Capricorn, that's an energy of re-examining gender roles. And he wrote this book a long time. If I'm not mistaken, he wrote it before Pluto entered Capricorn. And what did we see the entire time Pluto was in Capricorn? There was a lot of transformation of our understanding of gender roles. And that's what the seahorse is doing as a spirit animal, is helping us to see that, bring more love. And it may be that the love that we manifest in our lives no longer adheres to old perceptions of what love is. And here we have the wombat with exploration, the duck with knowing, jaguar with intention, and the frog with healing. So this is a time to heal. And I feel like the collective is coming more into their inner knowing, into their intuition, as we're having this like metaphysical renaissance that is happening at the moment where, so many people are tapping into meditation, quantum leaping, manifestation, crystallization, a lot of the collective is really getting into their inner depths and tapping into their intuition. And in order to do that, a lot of healing has to happen. And, what I like to say is that in order to be ourselves, we must know ourselves. And as we go our life path and soul mission, we tend to meet different shadows on our journey that we are given the opportunity to heal. It's like, who was that in Greek mythology? Was it Hercules who, battled the lion? Or think of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh had to confront his fears. And Enkidu, his companion, who eventually became, his companion, started out as kind of a rival. Enkidu kind of mirrored back a certain aspect of who Gilgamesh was. And Gilgamesh had to go on this long journey to really get to know himself. So as you move forward on your path, understand like the things that you are meeting on your path are actually helping you to come more into your inner knowing and more into your authenticity. There's opportunity there. Okay, so let's ask Lord Ganesha, how can we tap into this opportunity for healing, living our life, passion, soul mission, more creativity, capacity to love. Look at it, love and love. There's a call to bring more love into the world. Embrace. This is an absolutely critical message at the moment. And then it also gives us permission to enjoy guidance. And I feel like this is reminding us this is not just about physical love of humans. You can call on your lineage, call on your guides. One thing that I did when I was on my Reiki path, when I was doing my Reiki journey to becoming the Reiki teacher, which I did not start that journey with that intention. I had no clue that that's where it was going to lead me. But as I was on that journey, one thing I did was really allow Reiki energy to flow to me so that I could just experience what it feels like to feel the love of the universe. I had a experience when I was a kid, and similar to experiences people have when they have a near-death experience, except mine wasn't a near-death experience. I was just running down the stairs of our house, and then all of a sudden I stopped. Like I pulled on my brakes because I felt this incredible energy of love. And I couldn't have been more than 5 years old. And I remember stopping, and the energy and that feeling was so strong that I just said, I love you too, and I will always love you. I had no clue who I was talking to, but that energy of love that just came through in that moment was so profound that I naturally returned it, knowing that it must be a God force or an angel. And I didn't have the words for it then. And honestly, I said it and I bolted out of the front door. Like, in my 5-year-old being myself, I stopped for a minute, felt that energy, and then was right back, to being that kid. And so then I just kept wanting to feel that again. And the place where I found people who talked about a similar energy was near-death experiences, where you return to this energy of just the most incredible love. And so I feel like there's an opportunity here to embrace more energy from the universe. Yeah, we're releasing judgment. We're letting go of the energy of judgment and understanding that it's not for our highest and greatest good. And we're coming more into our innocence. And to me, that's our natural essence. In the Oracle of Delphi, know thyself and you will know the universe and the gods. It was inscribed on one of the rooms at the Oracle where these high priestesses, it's just understanding that there is a part of you that is God energy, universal energy, and that you're always able to embrace, that love. Look at this appetite heart, bring in more of that capacity to love. And appetite is a stone with spiritual connection, similar to aqua aura quartz. And so I think the more love that we plant in the earth and in the collective right now is going to have long-term positive effects. We need to bring in more. Okay, apologies for that. Yeah, I didn't have any more space. So I had to clear some space for the recording. Okay, so we were talking about we got to bring in more joy. I noticed when I went back to see where it stopped that the joy was cut. I couldn't see the word, but look, we bring in that capacity to love. We bring in more joy. Look at that. We bring in more splendor and determination. This is the root chakra. This is the root chakra. So I feel like the message here is the more we embrace our own innocence, understanding we are universal life force energy, the God that lives within me, lives within you. Bring in more that capacity to love. I want to let the seahorse be visible as we plant seeds of love, joy, and splendor that will bless our root. And this reminds me of the root chakra being a reference to family. So the root chakra is not just about having your basic needs met, it's also your family. And I feel like we as a collective also have a collective root chakra. And so planting these seeds of love, these seeds of joy and splendor will support the strength of our collective root chakra, which will give us the stability we need to come here and to be creative and to manifest the abundance that belongs to us. So really, it sounds like love and joy is the way to go. Dance it out, dance it out. Love and joy is the way to go. So let's bring in moon energy to see, just to bring in a positive message. It's interesting because cards just fell on the floor and the world card became visible, which fits well. And, again, these rejoice and celebration at the changes. There are changes happening. And I think the collective, like as far as I've been looking at the collective, doing a tremendous job at healing. A lot of people complain about social media, but there is a landscape in social media where you can see that people are really putting in a lot of effort to learning how to grow and to love themselves more deeply. It's just incredible to witness, to be a part of. A fiery climax approaches. Don't let pride get in your way. Have faith in your dreams. The answers you need are coming. Communication is key. Okay. So there are opportunities coming. Just know that for you, there are opportunities coming. There are opportunities coming for your community. Change is coming. I've been doing this like all 4 piles, making up words. Full moon in Leo, waxing crescent moon, have faith in your dreams. The answers you need are coming. So I feel like a lot of healing, there's an opportunity for a lot of healing to be happening. Because whenever I look at pride, I think of us getting clear on what is the ego, what is the soul. There's a lot of metaphysical wisdom out there. And in evolutionary astrology, they teach that the ego is necessary. That's Cancer energy. And it gives you a name, it gives you an identity, it gives you a personality that helps you move here on the earth plane. But I always think of the ego as a car, so it's giving you that vehicle through your name and your personality to help you move here on the earth plane. But the question is, who's driving that car? Is the ego itself driving the car? Is it a self-driving car? Or is the soul driving the car? Is that part of you that is God driving the car? Because if that's driving the car, it's going to help you gain far more clarity and to experience what it is that you want to experience. And I feel like that's what a lot of us have been doing that work to make sure that on a daily basis, our souls are leading the way. Our souls are driving the car. That true essence of who we are is leading us on a daily basis. And I feel like that's the encouragement here. Because Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, and that is the soul coming down into the body. And, with that being the beginning of the soul's earth journey, the soul remembers that it came from source. And there's even sometimes like an energy of separation anxiety. And with this deep connection to source energy, it's like remembering who you are. It's remembering who you are and giving yourself permission to live that and not letting the ego, which is the construct that specifically only meant to help us to be able to engage here on the earth plane, get in the way. We don't want the ego to be driving. We want the soul to be driving. And as we drive, we just make sure we continue to have faith in our dreams, continue to know that the impossible is possible, and just know that the answers we need are coming. There's a lot of clarity that's on its way with full moon in Gemini. And if you have your moon in Gemini or, like strong placements in Gemini 3rd house energy, then it could be useful to really write, speak, share. That might be how you find your emotional security. And Gemini is all about connection, right? And that, dance it out. Dance it out with your soul family. Dance it out. Have fun. Put on that music and just give yourself permission to be in an energy of joy and splendor. And with this determination, it just reminds me that sometimes we have to really set a clear intention to be joyful, a clear intention to recognize the beauty around us. And that's Gemini energy. Gemini is the soul recognizing the beauty that surrounds them. I always get a little upset when people say Geminis are scattered, because to me, that's the fake astrology. That's the popular astrology. The truth is that the soul is recognizing all of the opportunities and the beauty that surrounds it, and it is taking that beauty in. And as the soul takes in that beauty, it turns into information that they're able to share with others. That's why Geminis, and I'm not just talking about Gemini suns, I'm talking about Gemini North Nodes, Gemini ascendants, these are jacks of all trades. So sometimes they feel like they might not be good at anything, but they're jack of all trades. And they're also, the information they have, they consider it to be just kind of a given. They don't understand that their gift is quite special. So it may be interesting what placements you have in Gemini, in the third house, what your Mercury placements are, and just really giving yourself permission to enjoy the beauty that surrounds you and enjoy the beauty of who you are. And what I love about these two here, it's an energy of connection. Gemini is an energy of connection, with love and capacity to love here, joy and splendor. Relationships and trust came out as well. There's just an opportunity to connect with your guides, connect with your higher self, and also connect with your soul family. So this has been your reading. Allow me to support you on your journey if I can. Then also let me know in the comments below, if there are any particular readings that would interest you. And I'm just sending so much love.